Live.
Yes. Welcome into the Tim McKernan Show podcast. My name is Tim McKernan. I'm alongside Jackson Burkett, and the program is brought to you by James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency, by Seth Goldcamp of Design Air Heating and Cooling, and by Mark Hanna of Evergreen Wealth Strategies. Little Jackie Papers loved that rascal Puff. Indeed, indeed.
Is that Puff the Magic Dragon?
It is.
Nice. Was that, what is that? It was a song, right?
Well.
And it was clearly like a drug reference?
No.
Okay. People took it as
Ben
that?
Stiller and Robert De Niro got sideways over that on their car ride to Oyster Bay to pick up some Tom Collins mix 25 years ago in Meet the Peas.
That's right. It's been a while since I've seen Meet the Peas.
And I feel like that movie, even though it's 25 years old, I feel like it's evergreen.
Oh, yeah.
Thoughts, concerns?
Yeah, I mean, meeting your significant other's parents and it not going well, it's a perfect setup. And it was like De Niro's first like full soiree into comedy, which he
Was it really?
I mean, he had done comedic stuff and has been funny a lot, but like pure comedy, like King of Comedy is a comedy, but not really. So I feel like that was like the start of his comedic 2000s, and he's a great comedic actor. He was on Jimmy Kimmel the other day, and not Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, and the game they were playing was like pick your favorite movie of his movies.
Oh, yeah?
And he was like one or the other, and he kept just being like, oh, I don't know, I can't decide. I can't choose between them. They're both good. And Jimmy Fallon's like clearly like, hey man, can you just say a fucking movie so we can move on? It was really funny.
What was he choosing between? Give me an example.
It was like Taxi Driver or Raging Bull. And he was like, oh, well, two different movies, And so like essentially Fallon, to keep it going, would pick for
We
him.
would pick for him.
Yeah, and it was like, oh my God.
You're welcome to send questions and comments in anytime you want. T. McKernan at InsideSTL.com. Really would like an erotic story. Really would like an erotic story. I think Jackson is going to live one this coming weekend when one of his single friends hooks up with one of the single bridesmaids, and Jackson finds himself in the same bedroom and just listens from under the pillows where he is buried, sleeping face down. That's what I think you're going to come back with for next week's QFTA.
That'd be a great erotic story.
Yeah.
Tales from...
If that was going on, would you, get out of the room, or would you sal in? Thoughts?
Oh, man. Tough call. Freshman year dorm at Florida Gulf Coast was just me in the dorm. So I never really experienced that where someone's getting busy across the way, so I don't have much experience. I'd probably clear out, go by the water real quick and hang out. It's an Airbnb situation, so there'll be places to hang out that aren't in the bedroom. So if that were the case, if one of my single friends got lucky, I think I would just leave.
You don't think there's going to be a lot of hooking up at this because everybody's attached and there's only 40 people at the wedding?
Yeah, I very small wedding. Most of the people that I know who are going are married or long-time relationships. So.
Why is Sweet Sweet Kai having it there?
Why is a good question.
Thank you.
They always wanted like a smaller wedding. Like they didn't want the whole big thing.
You going to have a big wedding or a small wedding?
I think big.
So you're going to have a wedding here soon?
You never know.
Oh, boy. God, I'm going to get paid off so well on this. This was a lock.
But they always want, and this is where they've kind of been the last couple summers, and they love it out there. And I think it's a great spot for a wedding. I think it's cool. I think a small, intimate, remote, destination wedding is cool. I'm sure as the years go on and weddings accumulate, you're probably less inclined. And if you have kids of your own or wife, it probably gets more and more like, oh my God, another wedding, and this one's in wherever. But I'm 27, first couple years of going to weddings. I'm excited about this one.
Understand.
Yeah.
We got married in Sanibel, and I think about 60 people.
Yeah.
And it wound up being, I don't know why, I can't take myself back to 2011, what I was thinking going into it. Well, what a month that was, because Freeze's home run was like October 26th. We got married on November 19th. So nice month.
Yeah.
That bunch of people came down. It was a pony, and I wish I would have we talk about doing this with Sound Story, as a matter of fact. I wish there would have been something like Sound Story where we could have recorded to remember.
In the moment.
Yes, because now, I mean, I remember certain things, but God, was it a good time. And I'm not saying that because it was my wedding. I think other people would, who were in attendance, would agree. It just wound up being a great time. So I think you're going to have a wonderful time.
Hope so. Maybe I'll bring some mics and we'll do an impromptu pod.
Oh, my God.
On wedding day. And I'll keep it for my boy Kyle and his new wife.
I saw Iggy in the YouTube chat was talking about possibly doing a podcast, Pepper and Jeannie, at the Plowhawks wedding this Saturday. From the program that I know of, me and Doug and Iggy will be there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who else. I feel like there was somebody else, but I could be off. I might be losing my mind. But I think the Plowhawks wedding is relatively small as well.
Right? Okay.
Didn't he say that when he called in? Like,
I thought he said there was too many people saying
right,
yes.
but I think they were hoping for 75, and then too many people had been saying yes. So the Plowhawks wedding is this Saturday. Is Sweet Sweet Kai's wedding a day wedding?
No, I believe it's an evening.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, evening wedding. It'll be outside, so I think that they would prefer, hopefully, some cool. But it's I've looked at the forecast for Cape Cod this weekend.
Glorious.
It's beautiful. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Very much looking forward to it. I've been to that area before. I like it a lot. I think I'll like it more now that I'm an adult than I was as a kid. As a kid, you like to just play around the ocean and hope there's a go-kart track near.
You summered at Martha's Vineyard just like everybody else with old money in St. Louis.
We definitely did one trip to Martha's Vineyard.
Wow,
but I was like,
I went to Silver Dollar City and thought it was the greatest place in the world. Just different things, man.
Yeah, different strokes, different folk. We'd always drive, though, and that's a long drive to Martha's Vineyard.
Holy shit.
We would never fly.
20 plus hours, eh?
Probably right around there. And then you have to take like a ferry to get over to Martha's Vineyard with your car.
I don't know why, but having done the drive from Jupiter to St. Louis during COVID and doing it straight through in one day, woof, I would feel like a drive to Martha's Vineyard would be further.
Yeah, probably just because of the north.
How long is the drive from St. Louis to Martha's Vineyard?
17 hours.
So I could drive, it just seems like it's further to me.
I'm going to go 17. I think it's a little.
20 hours and 9 minutes.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, what are the chances? How long is the drive from St. Louis to Jupiter, Florida? 17 hours and 22 minutes.
Okay. All right.
What was the math on that? Oh, I guess that was what it was. So yeah. So I felt like I left like at 7 a.m. Eastern time and pulled in like at midnight St. Louis time.
Yeah. It was always 16 for me to get to Fort Myers, so that would make sense, the hour and a half across the state.
How about that? And you would drive 20 hours?
Yeah, we would never do it straight. We would never do it straight. Always stop. Always stop. But my dad he was the only one to drive. We drive, if we went to Outer Banks, North Carolina, Martha's Vineyard, Cape Cod, Montauk, didn't matter. Always driving.
Just got a tweet that Yadier Molina has been named Team Puerto Rico's manager for the 2026 World Baseball Classic, and I didn't recognize the man.
Really?
In the picture. Here, take a look.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, blonde hair now. Blonde hair, don't care. I feel like he had moments of that maybe when he was in St. Louis.
His gig with the Cardinals has been...
It's, I think he might be still onboarding with Chaim and Martin. I don't know, but it does not seem he's very involved. Although with the way the catcher's been playing this year, maybe it's involved in secret.
How about this? If Jackson could start an NBA expansion team in St. Louis, what would the colors, uniforms, and name be? Thanks. That's from the Cardinal Cowboys pontoon.
Super easy. Spirits of St. Louis. It would instantly become the most unique name in American sports.
And you'd go with the orange.
And I would go with the orange. It would be a modernized look of what they wore in the ABA, but it would be the Spirits of St. Louis, not the St. Louis Spirits, the Spirits of St. Louis, which would be the most unique name, certainly in the NBA, but I think in all of American sports, and it'd be awesome.
I have to tell you, I kind of like that.
I think it's great. I think they nailed it that time. It's a perfect St. Louis's history of aviation and their role in it. And it's a cool mascot, beautiful colors. That orange and white is gory, like creamsicle, you know? I think it's great.
Blue, gold, and black should be the colors. That's from Doug's Butt Hamster.
I don't hate that color combo. It depends on the blue. Royal blue and gold I'm not into. Navy blue and gold, not bad.
But then you include navy blue with black. Do we see any teams like that? I'll be colorblind. I won't be able to tell the difference.
The Mariners City Connects is a weird pull, but it's like a blue jersey, yellow accents, black pants, and I think it looks awful. So not necessarily into that one. I'd go Spirits of St. Louis. I think run it back.
St. Louis, it is. Jackson's in. I kind of like that idea. I have to say that. You can always Pick Six podcast coming back anytime soon. That's from Anthony Boyd. We haven't done that for a few years. Am I right or am I wrong?
Yeah, I think we did it the first year we were here.
Is that right?
And then I don't think.
Yeah, because I can picture being in the other studio and Joe arguing with Iggy over paying his bet. That's the only reason I know that it went on here.
That World Cup bet.
Well, I'm doing the spread zone. Yeah. Behind the scenes. Maybe we can workshop this on this podcast.
All right.
So I said on last week's Tim McKernan Show podcast, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, hell, I don't know, that Caden Cross and I, the Martin Scorsese of the San Fernando Valley, we've always talked about doing a program. She's been on TMA. We were going to do the Artie Lang show in New York City together. And that's a sliding doors moment. I would love to have seen what would have happened there. I still am so. Now, I think she had just gotten pregnant. And this was 2013, if memory serves. God, I was high on that. And I look back on it, the thing that as I'm picturing that time, the size of the email I sent to the guy in charge of what was DirecTV's programming at the time. There's just these things that as you go along in the business that you go, oh, I can't believe I did that. Yeah. It was so... I wouldn't send it to like somebody I work with on a daily basis, such as yourself.
Right.
Much less a guy, if he walked up to me, I wouldn't know. Yeah. And I'm giving him this, I don't know, probably 2,000-word email from a random guy. And God only knows how many emails he gets. It just makes me, it's like I feel like a little bile coming up my esophagus. But either way, then she got pregnant. We didn't do it, and we've been talking about doing a show ever since. So Caden, myself, and some people involved here in programming, both locally and corporate-wide, we have a call tomorrow at 11. So I texted Caden on Monday. This is as much show prep as I think I've ever done. And I said, one of the questions I'm sure they're going to ask us is, what do you envision for the show? Now, one of Caden's questions is, can we have the same caliber of dialogue that we've had when we've done shows together in the past remotely? So those are the two things that I want to hashtag workshop with her. Jackson, you're a producer of the most critically acclaimed show in the Midwest.
Yep.
The number 4 show in the Barrett Sports Media Rankings mid-market morning shows. Right. So I don't think I need to give any more of your resume.
My reputation precedes me.
I agree. Those are two questions I want you to workshop right now.
I would think in a podcast world, especially given the subject matter, I would say that speaking freely, not worrying about language or anything like that, would be imperative. I think that's important. And then, what was the second thing to workshop? I apologize.
What the content would be, and could the magic work even if she's in Los Angeles and I'm in St. Louis?
Yeah. Asking you, the talent, only one half of the talent here, would you prefer to do you and Caden just having conversations, interviews, or somewhere in between, or maybe both on a given episode? Like
both, I think, would be ideal.
So I think
certainly some interviews, but obviously the starlets are most likely going to be in LA, but there's some in Vegas, some in Miami.
Sure. I think that would be like having one section, like the beginning part of the podcast, be a conversation about the world, the industry at large, and
Cardinal Road Trip
just weaved in there naturally. And also, I think there's a lot of topics because I think that sector, the adult sector, is ever-changing with the advent of OnlyFans and direct-to-consumer pornography. I think there's good conversation there. And then second half, if you did 80 minutes, 40 minutes there, 40-minute interview, or, give or take, depending on the person.
You've heard the interview that has been embargoed from the public for no reason of me and David Freeze and Pat Maroon.
Yeah.
And the fanboy element of that.
Yeah.
It was recorded, I believe, in June of 2020.
Yeah.
It's never seen the light of day.
No, I've heard it.
You've heard it, though. I feel like if we got Abigail Mack and Ella Reese on at the same time, that's what I would sound like with David Freese and Pat Maroon in that interview. That's what I think it would.
That would take.
And then Kate would just be like, "What the fuck?"
Right.
Because like when we'll be texting about some nonsense, and I'll be going, "Hey, have you seen so and so? I think she could be a star." And I've hit on so many. I'm so excited about my ability to judge up and coming adult star talent. And then she'll tell me about like during an anal scene, a girl shits, and I'll be like, "Okay, that'll wrap it up. I gotta go," because I don't want to know.
Yeah.
That's going on. Even though if I were to really think about it, I'm aware that's probably going on. But I don't want to think about it. I want to know it.
Yeah.
I want to live the fantasy, like Fantasy Jim from Fantasy Coachworks on South Lindbergh.
That's right. Right. You don't watch like a, how they make chicken nuggets video and then have a 10-piece. That's
Thank you.
It's the wrong order. It's not gonna make anything better. I think in a perfect world, and I think you could still even do this with both of you in different locations, is like less of an interview, but having someone on. And like having that conversation you'd have with just you and Cade and include the person. So it's less of an interview and just like a third host for that.
So like me, Cade, and Larry Nickel.
You, Cade, and Larry Nickel. You, Cade, and El Reese. You, Cade, and El
I don't know
Reese
about the reliability factor there. I know Iggy's been trying to book her, and it seems like the reliability factor has been low, according to when Iggy and I talked about it at the Totem.
That's gonna be the tough thing. I think really just you and Caden like talking about everything is the better and more sustainable too, because as we've talked about before,
the guest thing's tough.
It's tough. It's tough.
There's this podcast, I know I talked about it recently, called Pillow Talk. I really enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. Who hosts that?
I don't know.
I'm gonna look it up.
But I mean, he's got a thing going, and I would gather there in Los Angeles when they shoot it. And it does entertain the hell. I mean, I'm really legitimately, and he gets the starlets on there. I would guess he's a hell of a lot closer to your age than mine.
Is this the one with Vanessa and Xander Martin?
I don't know.
No, it's Pillow Talks.
Yeah, this is different.
Ryan Pownell.
That's possible.
Number one
Powell,
podcast.
but I mean, sometimes people pronounce things differently.
It's spelled Pownall.
Huh.
Number one podcast in Canada. We interview celebrities about
he's a
sex,
Canadian
relationships,
guy.
and life. Okay, all right.
I think the thing's killing it too.
The
Good
Lips
for him.
logo.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's it.
Okay, gotcha.
208 episodes. So that's certainly kind of, I don't know. I'm intrigued by it, but I don't know how to answer those questions because deep down, ideally, we would be doing it in the same studio. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's just not realistic. I don't even know what she's doing. Right? I think she still directs.
Okay.
She hasn't performed in a while. Manuel was very, very straightforward. I can work with other women. You can't work with other men. That's the policy.
That was the policy for Adam 22 and Lena the Plug.
He could work with other women?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, she could work with other women. He could work with other women. But then just, I think, in the last 2 years, they had some gentlemen with Lena the Plug. And
he caught hell about that.
He did. He was labeled
the cuck?
America's favorite cuckold.
Oh, was he really called?
No, but that's what I would call him. Might be the title of this podcast. Although some of these Pillow Talk titles sure could be Haley Rose and Max Phil's cream pies with Violet Myers.
See, there you go.
It's good stuff right there.
It's great. And I'm sitting there, I'm just driving along with 2 child seats in the back, just listening to the podcast.
It's just the titles, and they're all in bold, too. They're all in caps.
Like a 101 texter.
Yeah, like a YouTube.
Who misses the quote-unquote good old days.
Yeah. Emma Hicks loves being the town slut. I like that one.
Maybe Tim loves being the town slut.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Let's see what we got. We just want to see Manuel's girthy hog. That's from Martin's Mystery Yeti. Not having a corporation riding your ass to push a narrative or ride a certain line. Podcast equals more freedom. That's from Doug's Butt Hamster. Well, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. That's what it would be. Let's see. I'm trying to see if there's anything. Yeah, they have a podcast, then Bang the Starlet after. It's a genius podcast idea. I believe that's Adam 22 and Lena the Plug.
Plug Talk, yeah.
Friend of the program, Brianna Coppage, am I right?
Yes, she went on there.
She was on there, yes. And raved about his size.
Yeah, yep. I could see that. I haven't watched. I've seen like clips of the interview that they do before they bang.
But you haven't stuck around for the banging.
I have not.
If Phoenix Maria were on it, would you?
I'd be interested.
You're interested in it.
Hear what she has to say. And
it's really interesting to me.
what to tell you.
You understand my attraction to Ella Reese, correct?
Yeah, she's gorgeous.
And I will not kink shame.
Sure.
In the face of any challenge, I will not kink shame. The Phoenix Marie thing, I think Phoenix Marie could be your mother, age-wise. Phoenix Marie might be taller than you, like flat-footed. And that's your thing.
Yeah.
So you like older, bigger women?
I don't know. She wears a lot of glasses in her scenes, and I like that.
Well, because she's probably dealing with vision issues. Like she's probably wearing the readers that I usually wear.
Hey, listen, we all got stories.
Right. You'll be wearing them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You don't know what's coming either. It just sneaks up on you one day.
My whole family has vision problems, so it's coming. I was blessed. My girlfriend gets mad at me when I say this.
She doesn't like you acknowledging a higher power?
No. That, like, I've never had, like, a pimple or a blemish on my...
Oh, wow.
So, like, even though
That's a great thing. So you have pale skin, but it's good skin.
Pale skin, deal with the hair...
You overstate the
male
hair
pattern
loss,
baldness. Yeah, but, I mean, I still deal with it. And buck teeth. But I was blessed. I've really never struggled with acne or anything like that. And I had friends who dealt with it bad in high school. And there was like a real hit to their self-confidence. They'd take the Accutane stuff, which is really intense medicine, to kind of reverse the skin blemish problems. I was very fortunate to never have to deal with that.
Yeah, that is a tough spot.
It sucks.
Let's see. That's what Tim's podcast should be, where they have a podcast, then Tim bangs the starlet afterwards. That's a genius podcast idea. That's Brendan Campbell and Martin's Mystery Yetter. He says that should be my podcast. Well, I'll run it up the flagpole to my wife, and we'll see if we can get that legislation passed and, see how that plays.
It's a real turn. It'd be real tough to break down the Cardinal bullpen after a podcast recording like that, like come in the next day, act like nothing happened,
Have you seen that Willow Harper?
Willow Harper.
Yeah. I want everybody, because I know we have some people watching live.
Yeah.
Make sure. I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
Okay. Turn my Wi-Fi off so no one's tracking us.
Yeah, mine's on because they expect it.
Yeah. Willow Harper. Let's take a look here at Willow Harper. Okay. Oh, okay. Very pretty.
So you agree?
Yeah. A lot of tattoos.
Yeah, I'm A-okay with that.
Sure.
But there's obviously been a lot of stuff going on. And I'm not able to figure out what it is, whereas women can identify the stuff that the women have had. You see what I'm saying? So you would agree? I guess one of the, I think, obvious ones would be the eyelashes that... What's the deal there?
Extended
eyelashes,
eyelash extensions.
Then, like, when the face is so smooth?
Yeah.
What's that about?
That might just be makeup.
I think that's probably... What's what I always say? Because you always think it's this, but it's always this. Maybe Botox. I always say filler, but it's Botox.
Yeah, it could be it. Could just be... there's some skin product that really is supposed to turn the tide of aging. It's really popular. Retinol maybe? It's fat-soluble vitamin that's clinically proven to improve the appearance of aging skin, acne, and discoloration.
All right. Well, there you go.
That could be
back to the acne thing.
That could be it. But yeah, I don't...
Now, is that your speed?
Only one of these tattoos is extremely intense. Like this one right here. I'm showing Tim the.
Her arm is essentially all black ink, but so are her legs. Which the evolution of tattoos. I'm going to start mid-aughts.
Okay.
Was what now is known as the tramp stamp, but at the time was popular. Mm-hmm. Lower back tattoo, oftentimes Chinese, Asian American symbols.
Yeah.
Then I felt like the next iteration, the sleeve tat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I felt like it was kind of like outlines like of Jello molds of like animals and such, just like one.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now this might not have made it to St. Louis just yet, but I feel like in Southern California, Southern Florida, I'm sensing it's to just get like a tattoo of just like dark ink.
Yeah.
Just like paint, almost paint.
Oh, yeah. Blackout tattoos are much more popular now than...
But I think that's the next iteration. That's what Willow has.
Yeah. Half sleeves are still quite popular instead of doing all the way up your arm, either on your bicep or on your forearm. I see a lot of people my age. It's just like sporadic tattoos, like no like.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no like rhyme or reason to the tattoos have rhyme or reason, but the location, like they just might be 5 tattoos on your arm, but not like connected in any way.
You have no ink?
No ink, and no plans to.
What about your love interest?
No ink.
My wife doesn't have any.
No ink.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, it's never for me. I think I would just look really corny with tattoos. Like, what am I going to get a tattoo with?
Who on TMA? I feel like it might be me.
We most likely
Of me, you, Martin, or Doug.
to get a tattoo.
Well, I mean, I guess for lack of a better term, I guess could or would. And then who would it look least ridiculous on?
Oh, you would look the least ridiculous. Most likely, probably me, just because age.
Yeah.
But me or Doug would look the most ridiculous.
It'd be great if Doug came in and he had a sleep day.
Oh my God, that would be awesome. That would be incredible. Dark Doug.
Jackson, a request for a new segment on TMA. I don't know if you're taking those.
Sure.
Is there any want or desire to do daily trivia battles like the Gauntlet on the Fast Lane, like the Banty Rooster Brawl or something goofy like that? Be a great addition. I'm sure it could get sponsored. That's from Don Peepee.
I would be open to like one trivia question a day for the dais to answer, like at a random time. I'd be like, hey, I got like here's the daily trivia. If it was sponsored, like fire that up. Contest against the listeners. Not personally, I don't think that would be like for our show. We did do the one time, it was before I was on the show, the Cardinal trivia, where maybe it was Pete or Sea Monster would ask. It was either a really easy Cardinal question or incredibly difficult. And that's where I think Clear the Lines started from Doug.
Oh, Clear the Lines. I do remember that.
Yeah. So there's that, but I don't think necessarily for us. The Fastlane does it really well, so just let them. I got that.
4 o'clock every day. You can count on it. All right. I'm going to go into emails because I have done a really poor job. I get distracted. The YouTube chat is the bright, shiny object, and then all of a sudden I'm like, holy shit. But yeah, on the Caden thing, we have a call tomorrow right after TMA. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to I'm like, hey, I don't know if she wants to text or call or do a Zoom or whatever the fuck it is. Like, they're going to ask what you visualize for the show. What do you think? I feel like it could be like if... I don't know what the solution is. I want to make it work. I don't know what the best way to pull it off is.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. Like what? How do you line it up? I get what you're saying.
Like it's not realistic. And pointless for her to come here.
Right.
And then I probably can't go out there.
Right.
And then still do TMA remotely for like 3 or 4 days while we then shoot in studio, and Hubbard doesn't have a studio in LA. They're not in the Los Angeles market. Not that you can't get a studio, but this is so nice because we have, for those of you who've seen the Spread Zone, that's the studio that we would utilize.
Yeah. Could you go for a week and bank like 10 episodes?
No, but that's requiring 10 adult starlets to show up on the scheduled time
in a week span. Yeah, no,
I don't know. Maybe that is the move.
Yeah, and you could bank 10 interviews, and then like when that interview is going to come out over the weeks, you records like you and Caden on Zoom or whatever, record something beforehand so that if something topical comes up, you have that at the front end and then a banked interview for the second half of the pod.
I don't see. This is why I asked you. Mm-hmm. This is the producer mindset.
Right. But I mean, it's so popular now for a podcast to have people all across the country doing it at the same time.
I agree with that. But I think, is it going to work if you have a person in LA, a person in St. Louis, and then the guest also on Zoom?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think as long as everyone has reliable internet connection, I think it would work just fine.
Okay.
Yeah, but then again, it's all banking on the reliability of adult stars if interviews are going to be like a main part of the podcast. Yeah. And I can only imagine the hell that could put someone through.
Yeah.
It's good that you get off the air at 11. And the afternoon is your open time, as opposed to the afternoon when you're on the air.
Oh, God, yeah, especially with the West Coast factor.
Right, yeah, to boot.
Hey, Tim, with the great response Iggy received participating on the dais at the Dotem, has there been any consideration to Iggy coming in for a weekly segment? such as when Martin leaves early for the day. Just curious, as I think that would be a great concept that everyone, mostly LOL, would enjoy. Thanks, bud. That's from the Florida Flower. But I see the email address, and I don't think this is from the Florida Flower, if I know the Florida Flower's real name. But I guess somebody's just taking the name.
Yeah, it's happened before.
Well, it's not my call. I feel like I've said that a few times on this podcast, but when people ask, they may not know that, so I want to be as respectful as I can. If somebody asks me a question respectfully, I want to try to reciprocate that with respectful. And I say this, is being direct, but also being respectful of our employer. For a number of months, I was hopeful and honestly, deep down, believed that I would be able to, I don't know what the right term would be, but Iggy would be a part of TMA going to 101. And just, to be real blunt, the economics, I think a lot of businesses, I just think maybe broadcast, podcast economics, maybe television, if anybody's paying attention to local television, are such that the corporations that own them and or the independent owners that own them, because revenue is different than what it was even a decade ago, pre-COVID is often a metric that is used, that there are cutbacks. Now, from my standpoint, personally, and I don't want to speak for Jackson or for Doug, that would not be fair. You, of course, are welcome to speak. I am of the opinion that Iggy brings something to the table that I don't think anybody can replicate.
Wholeheartedly agree.
And I just think and I always felt in the studio that we're in now, which is the old HD2 TMA studio, and I told Iggy this the day that he was let go. I told him what I was hopeful would happen, that, the thing would continue to grow when we would go over to 101, and eventually, possibly, he could, because he was playing out of position here, so to speak. And I told him this directly, so this isn't like me opining with a guy who I have known since 1998, and who I will be at the Plowhawks wedding with on Saturday. In that, what I visualized was when there are actual sports topics, and not just like, could the Cardinals come and do something in 2020 or something like that, where you're just like making up topics just to like make sure you're talking sports. That you got a guy who you can bring it, but if you're doing a blues, like following, this is super extreme, but following that loss to Winnipeg,
right,
which of course could be a once in a lifetime thing in a way. Let's hope that it is. Or you have a relatively serious segment on a topic. If you're into it, you're into it. If you don't know about it, you don't have to feel like you got to participate. And I think oftentimes, because we were all on YouTube in here and Iggy wasn't participating, it became, what's Iggy mad about?
Right.
Well, he doesn't follow it, doesn't know, but he's on camera. And so then the silence was taken as Iggy's pissed, and it just wasn't what was going on. I know I use this analogy a lot for those of you who listen to this show, but I just always loved the fact that when Doug and I would be talking Missouri football or college football, the cat wouldn't feel like he had to participate in the conversation. He knew we knew about it. He knew he didn't pay attention to it. And so if somebody's into something, that doesn't mean everybody's got to be in the conversation. I think that's healthy. Sounds like it's like a mental health thing. It's not it. I just think that's the right way to approach a show.
Yeah.
The people who know or care engage, and those who don't just sit it out. Right. And when the time comes and the discussion's over, or you have to go to a break, or the show's ending, or whatever, then you let the people go. Yeah. For the most part yesterday, for example, Ed Herman of Brown and Crouppen came in, and he was loaded for bear on this Rafael Devers take. Now, we all eventually kind of got involved, but initially it was more, I don't know, Martin and Ed, or Doug and Ed. And then eventually I got involved because I was just surprised that he didn't see it contractually as a lawyer. But maybe he was just kind of arguing for the sake of, like, here, I can argue this side or I can argue that side, which is my point as the presenting sponsor. But anyway, Jackson, in an ideal world, what I visualized was Jackson on the board and me, Doug, and Martin, and then where Chairman Kurt currently sits as a part-time, Hubbard guy, being paid hourly. His full-time job is a sound story. That Iggy could have stayed in there and been like the phone call guy, but then he's in that spot and then you can bring him in, and so it's not like, oh, Iggy's mad, he's not talking. Well, of course he's not talking. He doesn't watch the fucking Blues. And in all due respect to Iggy, who wants to really hear from Iggy on like his opinion on the power play? Just like who would want to hear from me on hedonism? You know, like I haven't been there. I don't know what the fuck to say, but talking about it, he's going to be able to tell those stories. So that's what I hoped would happen. I still hold out hope, but to the Florida Flowers question, that's not a me, Jackson, Doug, Martin call. That is a Hubbard call, and the status of the industry is such that at the moment there will be, I can't imagine anyway, expansion of rosters, so to speak. Right. Jackson.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly, man.
Let me see what we got going on in the YouTube chat here. Drinking the feared blood of children? That's from Doug's butt hamster.
What? That seems like a non sequitur.
I don't know. I just that was the top of the chat when I went scrolling. I think I don't know what that is. I'm ready for the Missouri uniform reveals again. When it comes down to it, it's a sports station, and Iggy is just not a sports guy. Jackson doesn't watch the Blues either. LOL. That's from John Scores.
That's right. That's right.
But we don't.
Right.
You're not involved in those conversations.
No, I am not. No.
No. But I think one of the things when we've now been there at 101 for 8 months. Mm-hmm. Is that right? That's where you.
Yeah, end of October.
And I said from the outset, I said, if you think that the show is going to become a 101 show, I think you're wrong. You're just kind of caught up in TMA social media bubbles that are saying this stuff because you're not happy about it. If you think that TMA sounds like the other shows on 101, I would respectfully disagree. But if you think that, I can't change your mind. It's certainly subjective. And what I have observed now is the old 101 listeners feel like we don't talk sports, and the TMA listeners feel like all we do is talk sports.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like when I feel like I'm alienating both Republicans and Democrats. I feel like I'm doing my job. Even though it's not what I set out to do, that says that we must be for what they wanted, which was 60% sports, 40% nonsense, approximately. This wasn't like done by, okay, we're going to monitor minute by minute, because there hasn't been a second where Tommy Mattern, head of programming, has said, you got to talk about this. But yeah, that's just, I don't know, it's as much behind the scenes. I'm happy to answer any questions whatsoever. But oftentimes, people don't get a chance to listen live in the YouTube chat. So TMA is not even close to another 101 show, and I am here for it. In caps, that's from John Scores.
We use that's a great Cardinal logo that he uses.
The Cardinal logo he uses is the 1980s Cardinals logo.
Yeah, really. I have a T-shirt with that on the back. It's a great logo. Cardinals have truly always great uniforms, great logos.
Minus the red hats on the road in 2025.
Bad. So bad.
All the shows on 101 have their own unique style, and I personally enjoy them all. Split? SPLT? What does that stand for? Oh, some people like something.
Things. Yeah, there you go.
Nicely done, nice MD 2020.
Yeah.
Isn't it good to have an outside, not really a fan perspective? Those off-the-wall questions are amazing, no matter how dumb or out of nowhere it is. That's from Doug's butt hamster. I'm not sure. I don't follow the question. Can you call in? What's the phone number in this studio?
I don't know if I remember. It's 636-900-4TMA. That sounds right.
I think you might be right.
636-900-4, and then that would be
I think that could be it. Doug's butt hamster.
Yeah, I can answer it.
You guys went from talking about porn to some guy named Iggy, and you lost me. That's from Brendan Cabell. Brendan, Iggy was on the program for a number of years, and many of the listeners, including Jackson and myself, are big fans of his work. That is how it came to pass. It was from a question. Is the YouTube chat the safest place for show discourse? Facebook page is an odd spot. Reddit seems miserable. That's from the J.C. Penney chat support. Well, if you actually want answers, this is where I can answer them directly. But at the same time, people are using anonymity oftentimes on here, so then that can lead. That AI bot is ruining the fan page. Oh, it was good before?
Right. Yeah. The halcyon days.
All right, next question is from DraftKings Cal, Jackson.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all. Two-parter here. Tim, question. After your comments on NLU last week, no laying up?
Yeah.
You mentioned there being one guy that you're not particularly fond of. I'm assuming it's Randy? Am I correct in that? I would love a deeper dive on who your faves are on the show. It's also interesting to me that they have such large sponsors for the pod, yet their YouTube presence is pretty shallow compared to other golf YouTube channels. Bob Does Sports, Foreplay, Good, etc. Although I heavily prefer No Laying Up. I assume their ad buys are pretty extensive. My buddy works for a large golf media company, and the sponsorship numbers he shared with me are wild. And then he gives some numbers, which is not my place to state. Second question, where do we stand with TMA golf content? Would love to see some long-form, on-course videos featuring the dais and the occasional guest. Plowsy, Projo, Skip.
Berkmeyer?
You think it's Skip Berkmeyer?
It's either him or Schumacher. I don't think Double Nickel is coming to play with us.
I understand this takes a village, but I've heard y'all reference the growing Hubbard media team. That's from DraftKings Cal. Nice, DraftKings Cal. All right. I for whatever reason, even though the question is incredibly fair on the first one, I don't know why. I don't want to say who I don't like on the No Laying Up podcast, and I don't know why that is.
That's fair. It's,
But I want to psychoanalyze why I don't want to say it.
Yeah.
I don't know the guys. I've been on the phone with Tron Carter before.
Right. Well, yeah.
I know the guys who, like, their media team, their sales guys, when they started the thing. But it's such a weird deal. I have no idea why.
Yeah. I think
isn't that an odd thing?
Like for us, when
maybe it's we live it, so I don't
always getting shit on.
But I don't know if they really care. Right. So when people like Doug's thing, which I get, why would you listen to a show you don't like? What I try to present as a potential counter to that is I listen to the No Laying Up podcast, which is a golf podcast, with kind of a TMA approach to it. It's certainly not like hardcore. All right, let's take a look at JJ Spawn's, second shot on 14 or something like that. But there is one person who, when he's on, because they kind of have a rotation, that I go, ugh. I just don't. I'm just kind of in our industry, as I would imagine is the case at most industries. You can tell who kind of has it and who doesn't. If you do it, it's one of those things. You know it, and it's kind of an instantaneous thing. You recognize it. I guess it would be the equivalent of putting up 5 different golf swings, and we could probably give a ballpark range of the handicap within a couple of numbers. I would think. Same thing. People would ask, how would you handle the World Series of Poker? I go, one orbit, and I would have an idea of the player's style. Same thing with podcasting. And so I'm surprised that somebody who, from my standpoint, doesn't have a lot is on the podcast. But it's subjective, so it's immaterial. But I have no idea why I don't want to name the person. It's beyond me. I'm trying to psychoanalyze myself here on the fly. Then the second question, where do we stand with TMA golf content? Oh, he asked about the YouTube thing. That might be a better thing for you. I don't know. I don't know the YouTube. I don't really look at them.
Sure. If that is the case, if their YouTube numbers, subscriber-wise or views-wise, aren't as much as some of the YouTube golf stuff, correct me if I'm incorrect, No Laying Up is mostly a podcast where they're breaking down tour news in the world of golf, and it's a podcast.
Yes.
That they do on camera. That's pretty static in terms of what I mean by that, like just guys sitting there doing the podcast, whereas all those YouTube golf shows are on the course doing things like it's made for YouTube, whereas No Laying Up, similar to TMA or any other show, is doing a show on multiple different platforms, including YouTube.
Right.
Podcasts, even though YouTube is huge for podcasts and absolutely important and critical, the majority of people are still listening on Apple, Spotify, take your pick of whatever podcasting platform in their headphones on their phone. So
there you go.
That would be my guess.
Yeah, same thing like TMA.
Right.
I mean, I from my standpoint, I don't think our YouTube numbers are all that big, but at the same time, probably the second largest, I would guess, in St. Louis next to the Riz Show. I could be wrong, and somebody might be able to immediately prove that wrong to me. I don't know. I really don't care. I probably shouldn't have said it. It doesn't matter because it's just going to like if somebody goes, look at this show. I have no fucking clue. Right. And again, don't care. Most people are listening to the show on the radio. Now, that was not the case 8 months ago when we were on HD2. Mm-hmm. But the downloads went up significantly of the show from October 2024 to November 2024, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And even though, I mean, I guess you would also, it's kind of logical because you're on this much bigger platform.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many times I have heard, well, Doug tells the story of, people coming up to him, and obviously his peer group is different than my peer group, which is different than your peer group.
Mm-hmm.
They go, oh, I didn't know you decided to do radio again. And Doug's like, well, I've been doing it every day since 2007. But when you're on places that aren't necessarily on the main radio and your peer group is people in their 60s, then it's understandable. But that's why I would always be like, yeah, people are listening through. I'm holding up my phone. That's the way that, but you are reaching so many more people when you are on the only sports station in a sports passionate market in St. Louis, and you're doing morning drive. But specific to that question, they're providing content that are shows that you can only access through YouTube.
Right.
And also it's different than watching like four guys just bullshit with content that is not evergreen.
Right.
I mean, No Laying Up did a podcast following each round of the U.S. Open. Well, I'm not going to go back on Saturday to watch Fridays when the guys are wrapping up their round on Saturday.
Right.
But yesterday, my older son's favorite golfer, still don't know why, but it is Tommy Fleetwood.
Yeah.
And Grant Horvat just played with him.
Saw that.
And while I was downstairs yesterday working, my boys got home, came downstairs, and scrolling through YouTube, and said, oh, look at Tommy Fleet. And we were about to leave, and my older son says, hey, can we make sure we watch this when we get home? That is how they consume the game.
Right.
It's all YouTube.
Yep.
So that's something, man. Let me tell you something. I don't know if you remember this, Jackson, and this will sound like obviously this whole podcast, a stream of consciousness. Something when we were deciding whether or not to come over here, and then going back into the weeds of 2021, so nearly 4 years ago at this point, Tommy Mattern, head of programming, he's like, we're going to get you guys on YouTube. And he goes, got to get the shows on YouTube. And he goes, that's going to be a huge growth opportunity. Yep. And as weird as it is, because it was less than 4 years ago, at this point, if you have a show that has a following, I don't want to say you have to be on YouTube, but boy, you're really doing yourself a disservice if you're not.
Yeah. Agreed. And even if it's not YouTube, at least recording your show with video cameras so that you can put it on YouTube afterwards, or clips on YouTube afterwards. Just being an audio medium is antiquated at this point.
And I always, having done this for as long as I've done this stuff, to see how quickly things, it's like a snowball, which I realize is a very tired, cliched analogy, but like how slow things were changing from 1999, from 1999 in Little Rock and television to 2005 when I left KMOV. I don't really know what had changed in the industry. I mean, it was clearly going downhill, but I think it had already started to go downhill when I was starting in it. And then, like, now the snowball, for example, it's been 20 years since I left TV. If I were to announce I'm leaving TMA to go do local television, even if I were sports director somewhere, people go, what the fuck's he doing? Yeah. Right. Well, when I left TV in 2005 to focus on radio, people were going, what the fuck's he doing? Right. So now, and I think this will happen perhaps within the next, even shorter than 5 years, if somebody were to go, I'm leaving the radio show and I'm just taking it in-house, people go, of course.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
But that was not, we've talked about it, and the guy who advises me goes, hey, you guys are gold because you own the content. And he's been saying that for more than a decade. That is why all those archives and all of the segments, they can follow with us because the parent company doesn't own it. It's owned by Inside STL. But how quickly it's changed, so help me, YouTube is to broadcasters, podcasters, what OnlyFans is for stag starlets.
One more time.
YouTube and podcasting, but YouTube in particular, is to podcasters/broadcasters what OnlyFans is to stag starlets. Yeah. Thoughts?
Yeah.
It's my master's thesis.
Create your own infrastructure.
Yeah.
What used to, you need a lot of different things, whether it be
You
equipment.
used to need a corporation mainly, or potentially an independent owner, to provide the platform to distribute your content to an audience. And now that has been cut out as far as a necessity goes.
Right, necessity-wise, yes.
Now, that also means the barrier to entry, our industry, has been removed.
Totally, yeah.
But then that's why the highlight of something that I feel like I have been saying to our audience, and our audience has been so great. That's why the support the sponsors thing took off as a, trademark, so to speak, of TMA, or a slogan of TMA, is it highlights the importance of sales, which is what it always has been about. It just now is even more clear.
Right.
So if you don't hear advertisers, a show is not tracking.
Right.
And but on the inside, that strikes me as very obvious and logical. But this is what I do every day. There's sometimes I'll be talking with people who do other things, and I go, "Oh, is that the case?" And they're like, "Well, yeah, that's the way the business works." And I go, "Fuck, I didn't even think about it," but I find it incredibly interesting. All right, let me see what I got here. Was there a second question in there? Oh yeah, TMA golf content. It's a great question. DraftKings Cal, you acknowledge with the "I understand this takes a village." That is the core issue. I would love, and if somebody had like a little side company where they could go out and shoot me playing golf with somebody, I would knock one a week out.
Yeah,
I swear to you. In order to do it, we do have a digital department who do a great job. No bullshit. I mean, if you do watch the Spread Zone, you've seen that. They do a hell of a job. But in order to get all of them, I mean, if you're talking about, so there's 3 people in that department, and they're handling a variety of different things. To get all 3 of them, and really you probably need more than that to go, you're going to have a camera and a mic on me.
Yep.
You're going to have a camera and a mic on the person I'm playing with. And then you're going to have at least one camera on the ideal landing area for a tee shot, and then the landing area for a green, and also the ability to shoot a golf shot and follow the ball down. That's a skill. There were videographers when I worked at KMOV who they would only have shoot certain, at the time, Rams games or high school football, because they knew quarterback's throwing, they zoom in on the ball, and then they can see the trajectory starts to go downward, and they know to zoom out because inevitably there's going to be ideally a receiver there, a cornerback there. Shooting golf is not something you just pick up a camera. I mean, holy shit. No. So point being, it takes a lot of people, and I would love to do it. I was just out with somebody relatively recently. I don't even know what we were talking about. Probably YouTube golf, and how that's what I want to do, and not like as a full-time thing, but as in addition to TMA and this and Spread Zone and Stupiracy and Sound Story. I really want to do it, and the Caden thing. I really want to do it, but it's so damn. And I know we could do it with
it's intensive.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I mean, I'm not expecting you to have a solution.
No, it's just
I don't know what to do on it. It's not like they're saying we can't do it. It just really, they have to set aside a full day.
It's at least, yeah. So that's
that's just to shoot it. Then you got the production.
The editing is what it would take. So here's you delivered a wonderful master's thesis just a few minutes ago.
The master's thesis being YouTube is to podcasters what OnlyFans is to stag starlets.
Yes.
Thank you.
The reason that YouTube golf is viable, sustainable, and people love it is top tracer technology. Tracers. Shot tracer.
This is Jackson Burkett, everybody.
Without shot tracer.
He's going to Cape Cod, but he's right on target.
Shot tracer. Without shot tracer, no one watch YouTube golf because you can't see the fucking golf ball.
Yep.
And it's like you were saying how difficult it is to shoot golf. The world of shooting golf has completely changed with top. But tracer is done in post. For most of these YouTube golf shows are doing it in post, so they don't have to set up a TrackMan or some shit to track it every single time. They mostly do it in post, and it is, from what I hear, I've never had to do it. Apparently, it is brutal.
Oh, is that right?
It's very difficult because you want to get the correct, and you got to do it from start to finish. Now, I think there's apps or certain AI that you can use to help you with it. But even saying that, let's say both you and the subject shoot 72. That's 144 shots you are editing. That's not including what goes on the cart, what goes on in between. It's a very intensive process. From what I hear from the YouTube golf that I consume, the production teams are pretty expansive, not only just for shooting purposes, but for editing purposes. 18 holes of golf, hour and a half long video. that's like, that's like essentially editing a movie. You know, like it is. And it's an intense process. It's difficult. And yeah, it's very, very time consuming, and to do it right.
I want to do it so badly.
Yeah.
I contractually, and this is like me trying to wiggle through my contract and have a conversation. Contractually, if I'm going to be doing something, it's going to go through Hubbard. But I'm so interested in doing it. I would say, I'll put some of my own money into it to make it happen, because I realize it's not realistic for the 3 people in the digital department to set aside the day and to set it. Now, listen, if you knew, like we have a Spread Zone, FanDuel's the sponsor of Spread Zone, you have a bunch of money coming in. TMA, you got a bunch of money coming in. This is a spec. This is totally speculative. But I really think it could, whether it be, we've always talked about us playing Pang and Maroon. I know Robert Thomas would do it. Freeze is going to be in town. Freeze became a golf addict. I don't know if he still is. I haven't talked with him in a while, but he's going to be in town for that thing we had LaRusse on yesterday.
Right. Yeah.
He'd be great. Isringhausen plays a shitload. I saw him coming in here, I guess, to do a Fast Eddie spot. And I go, "You've been playing?" Because I played with him a good amount during COVID. He goes, "Yeah, I got my member guest coming up." There's just so many people. And the thing that makes it the best, from my standpoint, is the quality of the conversations, which are so off the cuff. That's the best. And I love that shit. Yeah. And I want to do it. So I don't know, if somebody knows of some company that would do it, I don't know why somebody would have a company that does it. And maybe I will. I don't know. I want to do it. But yes, it's a great question. I really appreciate the email, DraftKings Cal. I want to do it. It's not for lack of, I want to do it. My son asks me about it. How come you're not doing, I want to do it. I don't know. I don't have an answer. It's kind of like when I posed the question last week, or somebody said you guys ought to use Discord. I want to interact with TMA listeners. I just don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
So feel free. Email me, tmckkernan@InsideSTL.com. Definitely want to do it. But yes, it takes a village as an accurate assessment. All right. Little Jackie Papers. If something ignites a fire in the YouTube chat, we'll keep going. If not, you'll be off to Cape Cod after tomorrow's program. John Score says you still kick it on the fan page.
Okay. Noted. I will.
Why do you care about Barrett suddenly after years of shitting on it? That's from Happy Birthday Maverick. Are they talking to us? Is that somebody who didn't pick up the sarcasm?
I would bet the latter.
Yeah. I mean, just for the purpose, number one, thank you for listening on 101. And welcome to the podcast. That was not a serious comment.
Oh, yeah, about me being, yeah, that was not. Tongue and cheek.
Is it tongue in cheek or tongue and cheek?
Great question. I think it's in.
You think it's in?
And I just said and, so like own myself here.
Yeah, self-own.
Tongue.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Jackson Burkett, Martha's Vineyard this weekend, if any of you ladies will be up there. But this is a man in love, and he calls himself Marty Monogamy.
That's right. Tongue in cheek. Yes, it is tongue in cheek.
And that's a reference to analingus.
DBA.
Doing business as analingus.
Yeah, the phrase originally expressed contempt, but by 1842 had acquired its modern meaning. Meaning, of course, unavailable. The physical act of putting one's tongue into one's cheek once signified contempt. Okay, that makes sense.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah. Whereas, like in England, I know the big thing.
Look at my tongue go back and watch it.
Nice tongue.
Okay, yeah.
That's a good tongue.
That's the tongue of a hummingbird.
That's right. And it was doing work, and yeah.
I don't know where that was going.
I thought that there was some quote.
It hasn't done a whole lot of work.
I thought there was some quote you had. I can't remember. In England, they're big thing, like they kiss their teeth, like when they don't like something.
Like when Leonardo DiCaprio, as Jordan Belfort, went to meet with the aunt.
Yes.
Of the Duchess.
Yes, I know. Odd romance was formed.
Well, I mean, I think he's on so much junk.
Yeah,
just anything was
so horny. Just quaaludes and boners.
Let's see. I still can't get on the fan page. John Scores, LOL. I enjoy the stuff on the subreddit and how off the wall and how ridiculous it is. That's from MD 2020. Cardinals Cowboys pontoon. Tim, I'm chatting with the Cardinals equipment manager on getting the Navy road caps back. That's wonderful. I would imagine that decision probably goes up a little higher than the equipment manager, but it'd be wonderful if he can just decide it on his own.
Well, I think maybe not decide it, but let's say they're going on road trip where they would play a team that wears a red hat at home, Cincinnati, and then they have Pittsburgh after that. And let's say that
he just leaves the red ones.
The equipment, oh my God, I completely forgot to pack the red hats. All we have is the blue hats. I guess we'll have to wear the blue hats to take on the Pirates.
God, it's such a better.
And then, like, I keep doing, like, damn it, I keep forgetting about that second leg of the trip, and then they fire it.
If you would have told me at 22, I'd still be as interested in girl activity when I'm 47 with a family, I'd say, oh, that's not possible. I'm going to grow out of it.
But wouldn't that fire you up? To, like, still have that zest?
You think when you're in your 20s that, like, number one, you think 47 is ancient.
Sure.
And I'm not necessarily saying it's not. I'm just saying that's the mindset of a 22-year-old. And then secondarily, it seems like that time is never going to come.
Mm-hmm.
I, at this point, think that if I'm still around at 60 and the Cardinals are still wearing these fucking red hats on the road, I will still be bitching about them not wearing Navy caps. And I'm now at peace with it, even though I recognize it's fucked up. It's kind of like the health chart. I didn't have my MacBook while it was getting repaired for a while. And for like 8 days, I couldn't enter my health chart.
Yeah.
And one of the first things I did when I got this thing back, just typing in all the information.
The stuff you missed?
Oh, you better believe
sick.
it.
You're sick.
See?
You're sick.
I want you to know that.
You're sick.
I want you to know that.
That's
it's
crazy.
important.
I thought you'd just pick up on, like, there would just be, like, an odd gap in your health chart.
No, sir.
But no, the fact that, you keep it on a pen and paper or something?
No, my Whoop.
Okay, fair.
Yeah, it's all in there in the Whoop, and then the MyFitnessPal app.
Wow.
Probably.
So you do MyFitnessPal and the health chart?
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
Who doesn't?
Right, it's a dumb question, Jackson.
Thank you.
Everyone
Thank
logs
you for your
everything they consume for, what, the past 15 years?
It goes back to 2007, 18 years. I mean, this
Good
is...
to have. What do you use that info for?
What is this? I wonder what I'd be diagnosed with.
What do you use that info for? Like, I get the Whoop. I get the Whoop stats.
The Whoop stuff is actually legitimate because it has now taught me, like, I know the things that will lead to a bad night's sleep.
Totally get that. Totally get the MyFitnessPal to track calories.
I actually, as I was entering it all in, and I'm entering the meals over these 8 days, I'm thinking to myself, the fuck's the point of this? I never go back and look. There are occasional restaurants that are out of town.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, but that's not why I do it.
Yeah, right.
And my wife will go, God, I forgot what we liked here. Yeah. And I go, yeah.
It certainly doesn't,
the health chart.
From a logic standpoint, justify keeping the chart, But
the juice, it's one of the only things in my life where the juice doesn't even exist relative to the squeeze. Like when I start texting you or sending you TikToks of audio at 5:30 in the morning, I still have to get to entering my health chart that morning. And it's a process.
We all need routine, and I respect that.
But it's so fucked.
Well, it feels like the only point of it is like
I think it's OCD. That's what I would say it is.
But it's like an odd party trick where you can tell someone what you had for lunch in November of 2012.
But that's not. You're not proud of it. Like the memory thing.
Yeah.
Like the trivia game that somebody was suggesting in the YouTube chat. I'm like, okay, let me go up against people for years.
Yeah.
1982 and on.
Right.
And I'm pretty confident.
Yep.
That I could, convert at a very high rate. Mm-hmm. Although there was some freak boy who showed up to a TMA Live. Do you remember that? I don't know if you
I remember one of the games I put together was like Guess the Years.
And the guy owned me.
He was sick.
And I'm like, who's this fucking guy?
Yeah.
And I couldn't accept that somebody was better than me at it. I figured it was an inside job.
He probably has a health chart.
Yeah, he probably has you're probably right. He does probably have a health chart. Let's see what else we got. Is the Reddit thing real? I always thought it was a rumor.
Well, as real as a internet conversation with a bunch of people with usernames is. And that's not really real to me.
I don't know if I told the story on here. I don't know if he wants me to. Maybe I shouldn't tell the story. But Iggy went on there and did a Q&A, and then it still went bad. And then he's like, okay, fuck this. But that was kind of a peak, because I'm like, oh, maybe I'll go on there and answer questions.
Never a good idea.
So, yeah. I'd imagine losing the Rams, NFL dominating fan interest, and decreased interest in MLB makes doing a sports show in St. Louis that much harder than a decade ago. It's from the Hunchback of Von Castle. There's not really a question. It's just a thought.
Which Matt Holliday says are his favorite questions, or when someone just says a thought and then
with some inflection at the end.
Expects you to speak on it. He goes, okay, that's not a question.
I don't know what to say. I think. What do you think on this?
Okay.
This is. I think here. This is a master's thesis. I think when Martin joined the program, October of 2024, and now it's been 8 months, that I think he was I mean, certainly less comfortable than we were with kind of we're going to show up, the mics are going to go on, and we're just going to go and we'll figure it out. And I think he has gotten more comfortable. So you're nodding in agreement.
Absolutely.
Okay.
A noticeable difference from when we started to right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's for whatever reason, that's when that's what I prefer. I don't know why that is. I don't have an explanation for it. Mm-hmm. But I really prefer that. I guess this podcast would be an example of that. But TMA in general, like I don't want, this time we're going to do this, and at that time we're going to do that. And
rigid structure. Yeah, no.
And so in that sense, podcasting has come along at like the perfect time for the way I prefer to do show. And by the way, I'm not saying it's right, and those who do a structured show are wrong. Some of them have to do it because they have to actually adhere to like a strict clock. But but if you're not used to it, and now if you're just kind of a TMA listener who gets a chance to be on the show like you were, it's different. But if you're used to doing, as Martin was, because he hasn't been on the show since 2006, it's like, okay, we're jumping out of a plane each day.
Yep.
But if you've been jumping out of the plane for 21 years, you don't think a damn thing about jumping out of the plane.
Right. Like
you know what I mean?
The ancient people stopped panicking that the sun wouldn't rise every day after it rose for a couple of years.
Oh, is that an actual thing?
It was like the stories like the ancient people, like when nighttime would fall, they would panic.
Was that right? Boy, what a mess that had to be.
Because they weren't
like, what about Bob?
Yeah, but then like when the sun would come, like, oh, phew. Eventually, people realized, okay, this will always happen.
I see.
Yeah, so when you jump out of the plane every day, it's scary at first. Once your feet land on the ground every single time, you don't worry as much.
Yeah. But I get it when you're somebody who has, Martin's had a hell of a career, and then all of a sudden you go from, something that was relatively structured, I guess, I don't know, at KTRS and probably KFNS too. He worked with Charlie and he worked with Frank. And then it's just like, all right, Jackson's got this dossier. We may or may not look at it before we go.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But we'll do our thing.
And
I was curious what you thought on that.
No, yeah, wherever like the road takes us, it takes us.
Yeah.
And I think, yes, he has gotten, and I actually noticed it a lot when you were out on Friday of last week, and he was running point, and like we totally had like it was a free for all. We had Pareko on and Joey Vitale on, but outside of that, like pretty much.
How was Joey? What, do you have new birds or anything going on?
Someone asked him a hockey question out of the rip. I think Martin,
and he was mad about it.
The texters were like freaking out. They're like, "What the fuck is this? Like, what is all this hockey? Like, we want the." The color commentator for the Blues on the radio to not talk hockey, but to talk about chickens. And I think he eventually got into a hemorrhoid issue he was dealing with.
Joey's dealing with a hemorrhoid issue?
He either was dealing with it at the time or has dealt with it before. I think has dealt with it before. Yeah,
that's a bad beat.
Yeah, but he talked about it in detail on the radio, which was
vivid
great.
detail.
That was great.
I'll have to go back and podcast.
It was good stuff.
Let's see. What are 3 things on your bucket list that you want to accomplish? Wow.
Like in life?
Don Pepe with an existential question. At 27, you don't think that way.
No.
I have to be honest, I don't really think that. Somehow it comes up without question. Well, I've got 2.
Okay.
One is on the itinerary. I don't know. I'm kind of thinking one will happen, but I have no idea. There's no reason to think that it will. Go to Ireland with my family, and that is on the itinerary for the 2027 Ryder Cup. And I've never been in the fucking Eastern Hemisphere. That surprises
Never
me.
in the Eastern Hemisphere.
Have you been in the Southern Hemisphere?
Nope. Jamaica's
we're
south.
straight Northern, Western Hemisphere guys.
Yep.
Look at that. I gather I've been pretty close, but I'm pretty sure Aruba / Venezuela / Colombia. They might be both in the northern and the southern, but Aruba is so small. I mean, it's tiny. It's northern hemisphere. I'm virtually certain. I feel pretty.
Up my Rand McNally.
Yeah, what do you got? I'm gonna bet 75% of my bankroll. I took a hit last night on that Cubs Brewers over that I forgot I bet. Fuck, that's a bad beat.
Ooh, I think it just might be just south.
Really? South of the equator?
Yeah.
I can't believe somebody is, I don't know what the right word would be, tedious as I am, would not know that when I went there.
No, it's, sorry. Aruba is located in the northern hemisphere, 12 degrees north of the equator.
Well, can you give me what that means?
864 miles.
Okay, so it's not that close.
Well, relatively.
I mean, so I remember flying in there, and we flew over a landmass that was clearly like, a nation, I guess South America for that matter, but it's either the tip of Colombia, Edgar Renteria, or Venezuela.
Venezuela.
But it could be both. It could be either one of them.
Yeah, I mean,
see that?
So both the tips of these countries, yes, indeed, jut out in the direction of Aruba. But I think the closest country to Aruba looks like Venezuela.
Okay.
Or Curacao.
So can I say I've been to South America if I've flown over Venezuela?
No, I don't think you can.
Is that right?
I don't know whether Aruba would be considered in terms of what continent it's on.
I mean, it's got to be South America if you can see
Yeah, you'd have to.
fucking Venezuela.
Yeah, it's South America. It's as well as all.
So therefore, I've been to South America.
Yeah, all the ABC islands
Huge win.
and also Trinidad and Tobago lie on the continental shelf of South Africa or South America. Jesus, and
That's kind of big for me.
yeah. So there's a
All right,
W.
I only got 5 more to go.
Yeah,
when the Antarctica thing's
really
gonna happen.
4. Yeah, because no one goes to Antarctica.
Is that
so-
right?
No, I have a buddy who's been to all 6 inhabitable continents, and I go, "You gonna cross Antarctica off the list?" He goes, "No."
He has no interest in attempting.
It's like hard. Like you can only go there certain months of the year, and then once you get the only people who go there are like scientists for research. People aren't like, "Oh, I'm gonna go like hang out in the Antarctica." I don't even know if it's a country. I guess it is.
Is there a government down in Antarctica? Somebody
I
called
can't
in.
imagine. I assume you're run by whatever country sent you to Antarctica. 'Cause no one's like hanging out.
Ireland with the family, Ryder Cup 27, Adair Manor. U.S. brings it home after winning at Bethpage.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Augusta National, not playing it. I don't see that as being particularly likely. Have not received the invite to join yet. I wonder what the downstroke is for that.
It's
I kind of feel like it doesn't even matter. I don't know if they have one. It's like it doesn't matter.
the cost is never.
You could have
being invited.
2.5 million to put down. We're not interested.
You could have
It
all
just
the
doesn't
men in the
matter.
world, like, yeah, if you're not.
Yeah.
in the criteria.
But just going to a Masters. God, I don't know on the 3rd. What about you, Papers?
Go to space has always been one
Is
of
that
my
right?
buckets. Yeah,
Really?
I
Look at
want to
you.
see the Earth.
I bet you probably will.
It depends on technology and how that develops, but I want to see the Earth from outer space.
How about
That's one
that?
of them. Sit courtside in an NBA game is one of them,
I could see that happening too.
and then I'm the third one's tough. Third one's like you want to keep open for something else because if I don't feel strongly about like a bucket list item, I just want to say it. So like I want to keep that third one open because there might be something that comes along in my life where I need to do this. That might not be there right now.
Threesome.
No, that's not it.
You're engaged in a threesome and a gentleman slides in an office chair behind you and begins to pleasure himself.
There's no way I couldn't just giggle my ass off if something like that happened. Not like the situation alone might make me giggle, but knowing that did happen to you, I could not help myself. I would like, yeah, I'd be.
I was in the middle of something that, again, in the whole scheme of things, wasn't that important, but whatever, competitive. And the gentleman I was riding with goes, "I don't understand how you continue to perform with that." And I go, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "You got a guy back there beating off on your office chair." And I would hope that he laid a sheet down. And I go, "Boy, now that you bring that up, I don't know if he did." But then again, he's taking my sheet. So either way, I'm losing.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
But at least it's
Like a trash bag, but then that's rustling around.
yeah. It's not. There's no situation where that like is like okay, this is optimal.
But it wasn't difficult, but it's because what was in front of me. I had to turn around and then see what was doing.
Right.
Now, what does that say about me? Does that mean I'm a champion? Does that mean I'm an even bigger pervert? I don't know. I'm open to
Both, I
psychoanalysis.
think,
so?
possible. But I think just focus on the task at hand. I think,
I am the only person who knows what was in front of me.
Right.
And it was an absolute delight. Might be Mount Rushmore of vistas that these beautiful blue eyes have seen.
Sure.
I think the George Washington would be that. The Abraham Lincoln would be the 590 the man, 1380 the woman press conference.
Yeah. Marcel Zuna climbing the wall.
Yeah, and then maybe that you and that yellow
diaper.
flotation device
Yeah,
over
like
there.
a hard-boiled egg.
That's
This
nice.
is brutal.
But because that, whatever was going on behind me, it could have been,
Yeah.
you know.
Right. Now here's a thought. this happened, the wheeling in the office chair and the subsequent masturbation happened while you were engaged in the coitus, right? This was
correct
in the middle of it. I think if it would have started that way, like before anything got going, he was already
like
seated.
we're all just lying in bed, and all of a sudden this gentleman's at the foot of the bed.
I don't know if it's
pleasuring himself.
going to be like the family bucket in Willy Wonka where you're all in bed to start. I'm talking about like he's already stationed there and gets going, and now you have to start. Then I don't know.
Okay, I agree with that. Now, what does that make?
That's
the bell
logical.
curve. That's where most of the population falls. Well, I was so surprised that this came up. There's a little, again, it's kind of a meaningless competition, but it's a competition nonetheless over the weekend. And just out of nowhere, I can't believe you continued to perform. And I go, and it was like, that wasn't even like it was very easy, I have to be honest. He goes, yeah, but with another guy in the room? Like, I don't know if he was trying to imply that I enjoy the company. I don't know. I don't know what it was, Jackson. And I was like, yeah, no problem. But then he started posing questions that then started to bother me, even though we're going back a couple of decades. Like, did he cover the chair? Did you hear it wheeled in?
Most certainly, right? You definitely.
I guess. It was 5 a.m. I probably didn't know my name.
Yeah, that's a good point. But to insinuate anything like that you might enjoy the company of another man, I think you might have been doing the most outwardly heterosexual thing.
But there are some guys, and hey, this is fine because we're not going to kink shame, who, if there is another we nigh, then in their minds that makes it, then it makes you or that activity gay. Now, my telling you where I am in 2025. That isn't how I think.
Sure.
I have no interest in one being nearby, but if I've got more goodness than that, which I would equate to badness, then I'm going to be able to focus on the goodness.
Would agree.
Okay.
Yeah, we're on the same page.
But it wasn't like I'm like, oh, good, there's a ween by me.
Right. You wouldn't say that was...
We're moving on despite the ween
and
my unfortunate office chair usage.
Yeah. Was the office chair used again afterwards?
I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
Might be at my house now.
That's nice. It'll go in the TMA museum.
That would be great. No, I think it was like a $50 piece of shit. I don't think it's with me anymore.
Yeah.
And again, you were like 4 years old when this happened.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I love a good office chair, but yeah, that would be tough to get back in the office chair. I'll tell a brief story. I had a great
story?
Brief. I apologize. Sometimes enunciation and I are not friends. Brief story. I had a great office chair in college. I mean, a great one.
Wow. That's a rare thing in college.
I loved it. I would always sit in it. And one night was living in the fraternity house. One of my buddies, just as hammered as one could be, me and my roommate were asleep. It was like 3 a.m. on a weekday. And this person comes into our room. We're like asleep or half asleep, and we didn't like notice anything. And the gentleman just started to piss all over my office chair. He just whipped it out and pissed all over my office chair, thinking it was the bathroom. And could not be convinced otherwise when I woke up and said, hey, quit urinating on my office chair. He's like, fuck off. Like pushing me out of the way. I was like, this is unbelievable.
I hate to tell you this, but I've got to own that I did something, and I was the pisser. And I don't have any recollection of it. Sigma Chi House when it was at 500 South College, Columbia, Missouri. Is that 65201?
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, sure is.
My compadre, Brother Kurt. I don't know if you had the pleasure. He's a delightful gentleman.
Sounds like it.
You would really enjoy him. Yeah. He goes, what the fuck was that about last night? And I go, what? And he goes, you really don't know. And I go, I have no idea what you're talking about. He goes, I opened up the door. This is in the frat house.
Yeah.
And you were just like pissing on your door. And then I said, Brother Tim, we always like mocking the frat shit. Going, brother, that's hence the name. Still here we are, 25 years later doing it. What are you doing? And you looked at me like angrily, like, why are you bothering me?
Yeah, well, I'm trying at the urinal.
I'm trying to piss on my door in the hallway. What's your fucking problem?
Right, of course. Because
you're out of line.
Absolutely.
No recollection whatsoever. Now, why gentlemen do this? I don't have an answer.
It was a real up and down. I had a different friend, wasn't my room, but someone just pissed in their laundry hamper thinking it was the bathroom.
So this is a real epidemic
It's like
we're
you need
uncovering
landing
here.
lights like at Lambert to like show where the bathrooms are when people are hammered, because clearly they're not getting it right. Yeah, so I lost the office chair that day.
I feel badly for you. Let's see. Does anyone even like the show on that sub? Seems like users get ripped if they are positive about the show. That's from JCPenney Chat. JCPenney Chat supports back. How come this podcast always goes back to the Reddit?
Yeah, I know.
I missed the Fantasy Showdown. What is the Fantasy Showdown?
Daily Fantasy Showdown between Doug and Iggy.
Now, it's interesting because when we were doing it, we get ripped.
Yeah. Oh, that's ABC Pokers, you'd say. Like,
Okay.
as soon as something's done, and in the past, it becomes immortalized as like great.
No, they all hate the show. It's just funny the accusations they make and how unhinged they are. That's from MD 2020. Let's see. I really wish Sam Burns would have been granted relief to see how the rest of the tournament plays out. The wheels fell off for him, and JJ stayed cool as a cucumber. So I agree with that in a major way. I don't know what to say about it. I'm not saying this through the lens of I would have made a nice amount of money on that. I had a little $25 bet that I think was paying $1,500 or $1,600 on Sam Burns that I made before the tournament started. So I was invested. I was stunned that he did not get relief, and it absolutely impacted. My guess is Sam Burns is not pissed about the ruling. My guess is Sam Burns is pissed at himself for letting the ruling play a role in his spiral.
Compounding, allowing it to compound. Would agree.
Let's see. What's the most meaningful conversation you ever had? How about this Don Peepee today?
Yeah, jeez.
This guy.
Oh.
What do you got on that?
Meaningful conversation?
See, I mean, just doing this off the cuff, I don't know if I would.
Oh, man. I don't know if I could. I don't know, like, just one in particular. I've had multiple conversations with both my mom and my dad that have been extremely impactful in my life. But I can't necessarily single out one conversation in particular. I would have to say I don't know on that. That's a really good question. Let's sit on that. I
like that. If somebody can, maybe I can email myself, put a reminder in there for QFTA.
Okay.
God, wow.
Next week we can revisit because I want to think on that one because that's a really good question.
Yeah, that's a Don Peepee. Don Peepee is an aspiring producer here.
Yeah,
that's a great question. Yeah, he's got a couple of them. Let's see. Remote Lamp. It's pretty much shitting on Iggy. Iggy hadn't been on a show for 8 months.
Yeah, shit on him for.
Tim hates the show? What show?
I think this is what he's saying that the subreddit talks about.
They say that I hate the show?
I guess.
Okay.
I have no idea. I never looked.
Blues interviews suck? I can kind of tell when somebody, because when they're talking about all we do is blues interviews, I'm like, okay, that's got to be going on somewhere. My theory would be the Reddit.
Yeah.
Is there not an understanding that that's a 101 thing at 8:15 that there's blues interviews?
We've said
you think like I said, I'll go over there, but only if you give me blues interviews at 8:15 every day? Yeah. I mean, is that like we marched in?
That's Tim's conquest.
I don't know.
Yeah, you can't win sometimes. I wanted to mention this.
Jackson is a freak boy, rinse and repeat each week.
I am a freak boy. If there's one thing.
You see me as like the least freak of the group.
Yeah.
I guess maybe I'm just the only freak. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, I think I don't know why someone would call me a freak boy, but that doesn't hurt me.
Okay.
I wanted to bring this up on TMA today, and it really made me laugh just at the state of what like social media is. I saw Dan Rappaport used to be on Foreplay, now just kind of does his own thing. How
do you think that's going? I noticed that he is doing his own thing.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I did see him, and I agreed with his take about like how on a golf broadcast when they say, and just a few moments ago, it's going to be something like making a putt or making a 6 shot, and it kind of ruins it when they're like going to a shot that's a little like it might have happened 2 minutes ago. And they're like, just moments ago, it's not going to be someone shanking it or missing a putt.
I share that opinion.
Yeah, and Dan Rappaport had that take, and the comments I looked real quick were just agreeing, and someone goes, I agree, dumbass. I just was like, you really can't win. I laughed at that so hard. It's like, even when someone couldn't be more in lockstep with you, they have to take a shot. I agree,
the take is so obvious, he's mad that he said the take.
It really made me I agree, dumbass.
They'll say this, and then my kids and my wife think I'm like Nostradamus. I'll go, oh, he's making this.
Yeah, right.
Because if they go to like some rando who's like 7 over on number 17, they're not showing it to like leave it 4 feet short. Yeah. I'm sure you could shoot great B-roll of a golf shot, Tim. That's from Johnny Cakes. Didn't Tim and Rafe do a golf thing? See, why not say, Tim, didn't you and Rafe? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
You think that's like I'm here.
Right.
I'm a human being.
Right. You read the YouTube
I
chat.
put on my shoes just like you guys do. Mine just have lifts in them.
Yeah.
We did. But it was a whole production thing. And I want to do it so badly. So if somebody has some experience in doing it and can hire, but I mean, God, I don't know. T. McKernan at InsideSTL.com. Let's see. I have so many things I love to watch. Unless it's a live sport, I watch Zero TV. That's John Pepe. Tim, can you tell me your favorite golf DK guys to listen to? I don't play it much, and I like maybe I'll interview a few rosters just for the fuck of it in 1 week. I don't listen to it anymore. I told Jackson I was going to be able to beat it. I remember saying that to you.
Oh yeah.
And I could never get it. Yeah. I couldn't. I eventually became profitable in poker. And I just can't crack the code on daily fantasy. I cannot crack it. And I know there's something probably basic that I do that's a mistake that causes me to lose, but I cannot crack the code. I also think probably you need to have a certain amount of like a bankroll to like deploy the max number of rosters. Right. I guess maybe I'd be willing to do that. I prefer doing it on weeks when there's cuts.
Gotcha.
As opposed to like the signature events when everybody makes it through.
Yeah.
You know, because then you're kind of like, okay, I got 6 out of 6 golfers.
Right, because if you make the cut, your likelihood of cashing goes up exponentially.
TMA Remote Lamp says Lemmings need to unite to make this happen, but I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know. I'm sorry that drones help as well. I remember Dogtown Ty had a drone. Yeah, because we shot some video.
Flying Sibian, as it was once referred to.
That's right. It was. It had a buzz. Tim, are your boys big into YouTube golf? It's from Johnny Cakes. Well, the 3-year-old, is a 3-year-old. So, but I sensed the 7-year-old. That was interesting to me that he was like, hey, can we watch this when we get home? Yeah. And I guess that's probably what he's going to be into. But the U.S. Open this past week, he and my wife went out to go get ice cream on Sunday night. The U.S. Open didn't end until late, and it wasn't open yet, and he ran out, didn't think anything of it. Yeah. Didn't think a thing of it. Yeah. It's just not where he is, but he wanted to watch the Tommy Fleetwood Grant Horvat YouTube golf, and that should tell you something.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Let's see. That used to mean blow me. That's from Don Pepe. I don't know what that means. Short QFTA. No, it's overall. Well, I must be way behind in the YouTube chat. This is a question for the YouTube chat and for Tim and Jackson. What's the youngest age you'd let your son, daughter get a smartphone? That's a great question, too. Tip of the cap. I don't know, but I can tell you this. I would imagine that we will be on the furthest down the road age of the phone thing. And just absolutely couldn't be more at peace with it. Sure. I feel very comfortable in saying that. My wife is hugely, I don't know what we were watching the other night. She goes, God, there couldn't be a bigger turnoff for a woman than a guy who all he does is play video games. And I'm like, ooh, that's probably, I'm like, hey, I'm just telling you, your boy, as in the older one, said he's going to be asking you for video games soon. Is this going to happen? For sure. But I have no pride. She feels strongly about it. And then I've had some people every once in a while, we talked about how addictive it is. But the phone thing, I am so at peace. Now, obviously, I'm not anti-social media, so I'm anti-anonymity of failures on social media. Right. But what I gather that goes on for kids isn't the, you fucking suck, your show sucks, obviously. That's my quarter-century life experience. Theirs is the more passive-aggressive of so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so were at a game or a party, and then they weren't invited. That it's like this unspoken thing. That
goes on, Online bullying is gross, and to the people who are like, well, just log off, get off of it. It's like it's like, just that. It's like victim blaming.
It's like Stephen Matt said today. He goes, no, guys, look at it.
Yeah, and it's like it's natural to look at it, and it's like to excuse the behavior of people being assholes and being like, just log off. It's like,
and usually it's the assholes who are going, oh, you're so soft. And then if I go, okay, well, I actually know who you are. And like, oh, what, are you going to dox me? Fuck you. And they disappear. Right. There was a wonderful, God, I wanted to talk about this, but it would hit so close to home for so many of the Hilljacks. God, I can't remember. Is it New York Times? So some content creator, it was about a month ago. Oh, so great. It was like reality porn for me. You might be familiar with her. She's a 20-something content creator who I believe was diagnosed with some form of a unique form of cancer. Ooh. And for whatever reason, and I have no idea. I mean, I'm this is like Ice Cube at the end, or Ice T at the end of New Jack City. I want to shoot you so bad my dick is hard. To Nino Brown, Wesley Snipes. As I was reading it, I'm like, oh, this is everything. So these, and these are like people in their 40s and 50s, for whatever reason, become convinced that she's lying, that she has cancer for the sake of content.
Oh, my God.
And then to monetize the content. And, it's a serious situation. If you're a content creator, you're not employed by a corporation, therefore the health insurance situation. And people are like, you should take some money. She's like, I don't want to do that. Then eventually she's like, okay, I'll do a GoFundMe. She gets a bunch of money. Then that makes these people even angrier. Then her doctor, I gather, obviously with permission because of HIPAA, talks about it, says she absolutely has it. The fact that this is even going on is insane, and it's all going on in a subreddit. So somehow, this was the greatest. I don't recall the how we went from A to B, but they're able to determine who the people are.
Thank God.
And so then the New York Times reaches out to interview him, and then they're like, oh, we were just kind of joking, or, the standard thing. And then, of course, what do? They go into, and these are people like, it was like a 54-year-old nurse.
Oh, yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And then they immediately, they delete everything, and then so they're really tough. And then all of a sudden they get called on the evil, and then it becomes...
I really...
Oh, and I just sat there and just was like, this is the greatest fucking story ever. Because, of course, that's how they act.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw something similar the other day where someone was like, some very pro-America tweet saying about like, everything needs to be made in America, and I'm in America, and this is what we do. And someone background checked that user, and it's a bot from Pakistan. It's like it's the same thing as like the ocean. Like if we could make the ocean clear and you could see what was in there, you'd be terrified. If we could make social media clear and like these are who actually these people are. It's either a bot, an algorithm that's doing this, or like some mid-50s person with a 9-to-5 job who you'd think is a normal person is being the worst human ever on social media. I wish we could just like take all of the makeup off and just show the bones and be
absolutely.
like this is what like people like are like this is where they get all their information. This is where they get all of their information on discourse and what's going on. It's like just so unhealthy and like raw and like masqueraded as one thing when it's something completely different. Fucking unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I'll have to send you the link.
Yeah,
You'll enjoy
do.
it. I don't even know how I got the damn thing. I guess I was reading the New York Times, because I do that. And I guess I clicked on it and I started going, what the fuck's going on? Where is this story going? And then it's like they tracked down the people in the subreddit.
So good.
And then they all immediately went niding.
Yeah, what do you know? Yeah.
Tim, what's a good one you've had with your boy? Talking about conversations? Maybe, I don't know. Did they make a pair of lifts, but for your boxers? Thanks, asking for my twin brother. That's from Doug's Butt Hamster. Conversation with him. I appreciate the question. I really do. I try to kind of stay away from for whatever reason, I don't understand why. This is certainly not the majority of the population or even 10% of the population, but people like to opine on how people parent. Mm-hmm. And to me, that is kind of a sacrosanct thing. Like what I might want to do, you might want to do. And okay, you have your reasons, my wife and the video games thing, me and the phone thing, right? And then you have the makeup. I have 2 kids, and they could not be more different, even though they certainly look quite alike, even with the age difference. So in terms of doing this Golf Channel /pod, is there a way that we could learn together and see how to make it work? Brad L. Sure, Brad. Fuck. I'm in, man.
Yeah.
I would love to do it. I can't tell you, like, of all of the things that I have going on, and you said, okay, you can only do one of these things, taking TMA and Sound Story out of the equation, and I guess this podcast, but this is, whatever, a once-a-week deal. The golf podcast is, and that's including the Caden thing, because I don't know what the Caden thing's going to look like. Maybe in a month I'll be like, oh my God, holy shit, we've got something huge with this thing. But, the way it kind of works is you put 20 pucks on net, and if you can hit with one of them, God bless America. But yes, Brad L., email me, please, tmckernan at InsideSTL.com. Our daughter has a phone just to get a hold of us. She can call us and her grandparents. That's it, and we are the only calls or texts accepted. Okay, that's good. Yo, Timmy and Papers.
Yo.
That's from ThrillFan22, but then there's nothing.
Yeah, well, it's maybe a salutations.
Yeah, that's from ThrillFan22. I believe that's a Will Clark fan. And then now I've finally caught up.
Yep.
Brian Henshin, who was at the Caitlin Clark-Sophie Cunningham game last night. Mm-hmm. Have either of you fellas watched the Call Her Daddy doc on Hulu? It's on my list, but there's been a lot of pushback to the stuff she's accusing Boston USA. I didn't even know anything about that. I thought that there was a doc. Here is that might be a flawed perspective on documentaries. It's the same thing with what was the name of the thing that went to go look at the Titanic that they did a quote-unquote documentary on? What was the name of that vessel that imploded? Well, that
Thumb Level.
Everybody knows. It was called Thumb Level?
I don't think it was Thumb Level. That would be a bad name. The thing that burst, right?
Right. Either way. That happened within the last couple of years. Yeah. I feel like a documentary that doesn't have time to
Right.
It's probably more of a vanity project.
Titan ran by Ocean Gate.
There you go. I felt like there was something Titan.
Yeah, Titan was the name of the
Titanic. Thank you,
vessel.
Cardinals Cowboy Pontoon, the Titan. Thank you, Jackson Burkett, Titan. I have not watched that because I'm like, this is going to be, it'll be like an agenda-based, let's skew what just recently happened.
Yeah.
And I feel the same thing about what I've seen as I don't want to call it a phenomenon, but something that I've noticed as a trend from really wealthy people. They do their own documentaries to tell their story, and I feel like these are vanity projects. That is my read on the Call Her Daddy doc. Now, I don't know if, is it Alex Cooper is the Call Her Daddy host? Yep. Maybe she's not involved in it. But at the same time, if she's not involved in it and then she's not interviewed, then I would have skepticism that it's the other way.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Right.
So, I don't know. Have you watched it?
No. Documentaries and me.
That's right. That's so surprising.
I know.
That is the most off-brand thing on your makeup.
Yeah.
Like that I would think documentaries would be. Why don't you like them? And I'm not like challenging you. I'm just like, it's so surprising. Like, and the fact that you read mystery novels. These are just so off-brand for your personality.
On that, I would say it's not that I dislike documentaries. And most of the time when I watch one, I do like it. It's that naturally I just glom on more to original like stories, like someone made up, or adaptations of real life things. Dramatizations.
Sometimes some of these documentaries turn out to be fiction.
Yeah, that's true. But dramatizations of real events or totally made up events, fiction, I'm much more drawn to in terms of what I do. Like when I'm watching TV, like I'd rather watch a movie or TV show almost always. And that, like, I understand I'm like missing out on some knowledge that I wouldn't have because documentaries can provide that. But that's just like where I go. That's where I go. Like, so when like a new documentary comes out, like I'm probably not the guy to come to on it. But but that's not, I wouldn't say it's across the board. I think
how much Call Her Daddy have you listened to?
None.
Like none?
At most would
Absolutely
be a clip on TikTok. Okay. At most.
I was like, when I first heard about it, which goes back years ago, I'm like, oh, can't wait to listen. Right. I mean, fuck, here I'm talking about the Pillow Talk podcast and Holly Randall. And by the way, her guest this week is the Girth Master.
The Girth Master.
I swear to you, I mean, it's so fucked up. I wake up on Wednesdays and I'm like, can't wait to see what the latest podcast is from Holly Randall and who her guest is. I mean, what are we doing?
I like how that, like, you like to be surprised by it. Like,
I really do.
Yeah, you know.
And hey, listen, I want to make it clear, I don't kink shame. I don't know if I've said that before in the last 3 minutes. But when it's like a BDSM person, I'm like, yeah. I'm not, and I know plenty of people are probably really excited about it. Not my scene. So I don't. It says Girthmaster, the internet's thickest thirst trap. I don't know if this is like a guy.
It seems like it
You would assume. Well, I
I
recognize that, but like if it's an actual person or if this is a site, I have no idea. With regard to Call Her Dad, I'd be curious for those in the YouTube chat, or you can email me, tmckernan at InsideSTL.com, if you've seen the documentary, and if is it her producing it? My guess is, based on something that they're talking about with this Boston U soccer coach, then that's got to be that she's telling the story. Right. I would guess.
Right. So I'm currently looking up if Spotify has any deals with Hulu to see if there's some synergy, some corporate synergy between the two, and why they might be, because Spotify obviously paid a lot of money for Alex Cooper and Call Her Daddy. And if they had a deal with Hulu, you could leverage that and be like, okay, we get more out of this. But from what I'm seeing, no. It looks like Spotify has independent deals with every different, streamer.
Okay.
But they're just all owned by there's 5 parent companies that own all of American content in the world, or at least American content. And so whenever I see stuff like this, I'm like, okay, is there a deal somewhere? Obviously Disney and ESPN go hand in hand, and so on and so forth.
Got it. Okay.
But there's nothing from what I can see.
That's wise. Okay.
Nothing I can see.
I mean, maybe I'll watch it. So did Brian Henson say he's watched it? It's on my list, but there's been a lot of pushback. Okay. I don't know. I don't know why, but I have if I see it when I'm scrolling through Instagram or TikTok, I don't give a fuck who the guest is. I scroll. I have no interest in it, and I don't know why. I'm looking for people to psychoanalyze me again.
Yeah.
Why? I guess I feel like I don't like performative. I don't like thirsty social media.
Yeah.
People.
Sure.
And I don't necessarily know why. I'd love to psychoanalyze that too. I think it's because I long for authenticity. I feel like it's been replaced by cults of personality that have led to governmental policy that could lead us to Armageddon, if I could really simplify it.
A lot of master's thesis today.
I think that's it. Yeah. And I see, and also I have to say, just because I chose not to do it doesn't mean that those who chose to do it are wrong and I'm right or anything like that, or I'm standing on some moral high ground. Their bank accounts are much bigger than mine. But when I recognize somebody is doing the performative media thing, at that moment I am out.
Right.
Or the performative political thing, I am out. Yeah. And this might not. Well, I would say it actually is not fair. My read on that show is that it is performative, and therefore I'm out. But at the same time, I know very little. I listened to it and I was like, God, this is fucking terrible. But it's not. It's not for 40-something men. It's for teens and 20-something women. Right.
Although I bet 40-something men are probably a sizable demographic.
I guess, but I don't. But my understanding is now the show isn't like I blew this guy over the weekend, and then my friend was next to me and she was blowing this guy, and he plays. I can't tell you who, but he might be on the Islanders.
Right. I think that's what it used to be when it was more Barstool.
And hey, God bless. People. That's the thing. It's like Howard Stern is what he was. Well, I would hope so. He's in his 70s now. I mean, wouldn't that be fucked up?
Yeah, the fact that he went as long as he did kind of be.
Isn't he still going? I never listened.
Yeah, I mean, he still is.
Boy, I'll tell you, when I scroll by channel 100 on Sirius, I'm just like, boy, I really do wonder. He's 71 years old now. I wonder what's going on there that he's still doing it.
Yeah, it's probably just because it's it comes so easy to him. And the money's still very green. And all he's doing is walking down to his basement.
Yeah, that's true.
If he's not, I guess the commute would probably have him stop a lot sooner. I think it's probably what most people I think a lot of people in America, if they could work from home 3 days a week, would work pretty much until they're 90 or whatever old.
If I could do this program with you. Until they put me in the ground from a home where it's warm year-round. Yeah. I'd be like, it's fine. Right. And you can pay me half of what I'm making now. Right. I'm dead serious. Couldn't care any fucking less because I'll be happy and I can, I'd be good. Yeah. And that's not like a shot at anything. It's just like this is what I enjoy the most, and I can interact with people. And not in a spot where I'm like, okay, I got it. It's just like, this is
Free flow.
Yeah, but the freedom of it just, we were out last night, the whole family, and it's warm. It's like, God, this is the fucking greatest. But
Barbecue?
No, on the golf course.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, played really bad, by the way.
Did you?
Well, in the round that I played with some compadres, then the family came up. We had dinner, and then we went back out there.
Mm-hmm.
And my 7-year-old now is wanting to play from the gold tees, which is where.
God, yeah.
And I probably should leave it at that. But hey, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
But there are certain holes where there's water and you can't carry it. So then I have to like guide him around the water like we're Lewis and Clark.
And this could all be rectified if we just tee it up forward. Just tee it forward, as the USGA would say.
And then inevitably, despite like we're going driver, now we're going 7-iron to cut the corner so we can go wedge in.
Right.
Inevitably, even though maybe 3 out of 4 times when we do it, he navigates it. The one time it goes in, of course, it's my fault. And I'm just like, this fucking guy.
Yeah.
But then everybody involved in golf's like, it's so great that he cares. And I go, you think this is okay? I told as public as I got with the whole thing was talking about getting scolded for not birdieing holes when we were playing together at the Dotem.
Yeah.
Jackson's team birdied it. I go, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, not to shit on my dad's golf game. I think my dad would be the first one to do it. My dad might have been the 4th best player in our foursome. And then you got my brother-in-law, who, by the way, was rolling putts in.
Outstanding.
And then I got a 7-year-old.
Yeah.
I mean, how much do you want from me out here today?
Yeah, you were the 2015 Cleveland Cavaliers. It was you and Matthew Dellavedova trying to take down Stephen Clay.
Dellavedova.
Yeah.
What a callback. And I couldn't care any less.
Right.
And I kind of thought everybody out there couldn't care any less until we got back to the cart, and I'm getting the what's what and the who's who from my son because we didn't birdie the hole. Yeah. And I'm like, who cares? I do. Wow. And then I tell golf people this and like, oh, that's great. And I go, that's great? Well, that means he cares. And I go, I don't know. I mean, we're playing the gold tees at 7 here. Not to say that we're playing a 7,000-yard course, but,
It's still, yeah.
Yeah, I know. And I go, we're wrapping up dinner last night. I go, what do you want to do? He goes, gold tees. I go, fuck. And then my wife's like, you know what? It's a beautiful night. I don't have anything to do. I'll come out there with you guys. I go, okay, right. Here you go.
Right.
It's like you're gonna see the sex club now. You didn't know this existed. You're about to find out that this exists.
Yep.
Have fun.
Yeah.
Fuck. And then he had a SpongeBob ball.
Oh, okay. Yellow?
Yes.
Nice.
And I just reach in the bag when one goes in the water and I grab another ball. What do I fucking care?
Right.
The left dashes that I treasure.
Yeah.
Those aren't in his bag. So any other ball, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
So I toss it down there. Then he hits it in the water again. Now it's a problem because the SpongeBob ball's gone.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Oh, God!
Question about, we were talking
I'm taking questions.
vision at the earlier in the program. If someone plays a golf ball that isn't white, I have no chance of seeing it off the tee. I know people like
really. I thought like older guys start to play like the yellow balls because they can see them better. I think that's what goes on.
I see them better when it's in the rough and like maybe a touch buried. I see that, but in the air, I cannot see
a yellow ball. Really interesting.
The worst is the orange ones. I am no help to you on that one.
Really?
But if it's not white, like to me, the biggest contrast in color is the green grass and white ball, bigger than green and yellow. But maybe my eyes and the slight color blindness I possess.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, yeah. But at this age, that's surprising to me.
I cannot see high
yellow or the interesting.
Can't see
color me interested. I don't have an answer for it. Let's see. Let's see if anybody's answered. I personally think Cornbread Bitch is the hottest girl on Twitter. I don't know what to say to that. Are you familiar with her?
Cornbread Bitch?
Right.
No, I do love cornbread though.
I do as well.
Yeah.
Now that it's brought up.
Yeah, if it's between that and the biscuit, it's a really hard call. I think I go cornbread though.
Was at the bar the other day and some guy ordered this messy quesadilla. He sucked some sort of sauce off each one of his fingers and made the lip smack noise with it. Can he go to prison? Thanks. That's in the JCPenney chat support.
I tuned out halfway through that question, or that I didn't even know if there was a question.
At the bar, that is tough. Yeah. That's a tough spot. All right, Jackson. What happens? I could go forever.
Right.
And I can't do that to you. You're going to Cape Cod tomorrow. You got a flight to Boston, shipping up to Boston.
Someone asked, real quick, random movie question, what Christoph Waltz performance is better, Inglourious Bastard or Django?
Wow, it's a nice question.
The answer that he won Oscars for both. The answer is Inglourious Bastards. For the first 30 minutes where he
so good.
drinks the milk
That's
and
a
then
great question.
discovers the Jewish family under the floorboards. That scene alone is what breaks the tie, because they're both outstanding performances, but that movie doesn't work. You have to have a hit right off the bat, and that scene is incredible. Christoph Waltz in Bastards, I'll take. Hans Landa.
God, I love those movies.
Oh, it's so good. It's so
Those are outstanding.
That's a bingo. Both those are all-timers for me, so.
Brian Henson, I feel like I got, because I've seen that Call Her Daddy, quote-unquote, doc promoted.
Yeah, right.
And I just look at that and I go, this is clearly, to me, a vanity project. Mm-hmm. That's how I read it. But again, I have to acknowledge, I think, full circle on the Reddit thing, I think if I were to try to draw a parallel, I think my automatic distaste, I guess, for her, which is totally unfounded. I have no idea where it even comes from. Maybe like some people with me on the Reddit. Now, I haven't read it, so I don't know. But I get, because Tim doesn't like the show. I have no idea how one could say that. But I think if you're so obsessed that all you do is you focus on me, and if I'm not engaged in the conversation, then it becomes like when Iggy wasn't engaged in the conversation. Iggy's angry. You just attach your own narrative that you already had coming into it. And that's where I am with her, because she gets great guests.
Ever since she made the move to Spotify, as big as it can get.
So if anything, it would be something I would probably like, but it feels so... But again, I don't literally listen, so it's not fair. It's like a Real Housewives-y interview style. Yeah. That's what I think it is, but I don't fucking know because I don't listen. It's like the split-second clips. Yeah. It's like, all right, and I'm just like, it's so phony. Yeah. So I don't want to engage in it.
The clips I've seen, it's loud. Right. It's loud.
But maybe I should give it a chance. I don't know why I'd need to. I don't. I'm arguing with myself over this, but I'm trying to. Yeah, Brian Henson really got me going accidentally with this.
Yeah.
Because I have seen the promos.
Sure.
And it does seem like something, but the question would be, is it like her production company doing the vanity project? You know what I mean?
Right.
Or is it like an actual story on how this thing went from tiny little podcast with two girls living in a tiny little apartment in New York City to, I don't know, she's on track to be a billionaire,
you
know?
Oh, yeah. Some with interviews, it's tough for me, I think, to consume an interview that's meant to be, serious is the wrong word, but kind of serious, this is not just like a joke, because I think of Larry King when in his late stages when he would interview everybody, and it's so fucking funny. There's something to if the interviewer and the subject, could I imagine them hanging out and having conversations outside of this interview space?
That's your favorite kind of thing.
And if the answer is no, then I'm I just don't think I could. I don't see Alex Cooper and Post Malone having a lot of hangout, talking over sessions. Same with Chappell Roan. I just don't see them having. So to watch this interview, I don't feel a connection. Now, if it's done for comedic standpoint, like Larry King interviewing Eric Andre, give me that all day. But that's the purpose of that, is to be funny. And I don't think that I can get down necessarily with Alex Cooper interviewing someone who I don't think that she would even look at, not because she thinks she's better than everybody, just because they hang out in different circles. I can't get down with it. I'm
trying to figure it out. I am trying to figure it out. I got a lot of things I'm psychoanalyzing here on it. I don't know what my thing is there, but my thing is an aversion to her, even though I've got nothing against her. If anything, I think that's my kind of person, a woman who's comfortable talking about her sexuality. God bless. Major doffing of the cap. I don't know. I guess maybe it's when to perform. Maybe it is my predisposition to performative for the purpose of attention that I view. I don't know if I would say this industry, but I guess it's kind of this industry. And I have a real aversion to that,
I know what you're saying. Right.
And so then I'm lumping her in there, which might not be fair. Yeah. Now other people might be really familiar with it, and go, no, you're exactly right. But I have to tell you, if I happen to be right, it's not. I didn't arrive there fairly.
Sure.
It's a heads or tails, and I happen to guess right. But maybe people like that. People like the performative shit.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, clearly.
But you think like people with Clay Travis? I saw he was Caitlin Clarking this morning.
It's the day that ends in Y.
And I'm curious. It's like people used to say, well, they know that wrestling is fake and they're still watching it, but they love it. They don't care that it's fake.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
So what I'm asking, I guess, now about that is, do people know it's fake and then still love it, or do they think it's real? Whereas, like, the people outside of the bubble know it's fake or know what he's doing. You see what I'm saying? And then still love it.
I think they block it out if they know it's fake or leaned into. They block that out because the content, like, they agree with.
Validates their.
Yes, it's an echo chamber confirmation bias.
Got it.
Yeah. Yes. So I think you can block that out. And I'm sure I'm guilty of it on the other side. Like, but I try to point out, if I see that, I don't want that. That's not what I look for when it comes to, like, actually trying to, like, hear what people have to say about certain topics. I try to avoid that. But I think it's easier to block that out if what they're saying is in agreement with your, view on things.
Mm-hmm. I'm in the tank right now, for those of you wondering about the pause. I'm staring into the abyss, although the abyss is a wall about 10, 20 feet away. Let's see. Tim and Jackson, thank you for all the wonderful conversations today. I've been working alone and listening since 7. You really made the day go by fast. That's from Harry Wade. No, God bless. Hey. For real. I love all the shows these guys do. It's from Thrillfan 2020. This is fucking me up.
Yeah, appreciated.
Yeah. I don't know what to do. Some people gotten together and tried to see how we would handle compliments. I don't know what to do. I'm uncomfortable with it, but I certainly appreciate it.
I assure you the day has gone faster. At least I can speak for myself. For me, I look down and I say, oh my God, 1:15.
There you go. That's what QFTA does for you.
Big time.
What's the title of this sode again?
A couple options.
Yeah.
I don't hate. I agree, dumbass. I think that
I think that's
agree,
it. You're going to have to really come up with a good one that's going to.
Well, I looked at some of those Pillow Talk podcasts, and as much as I would love it to be Timmy is the town slut for SEO purposes, I don't know if that's going to be our best target. Sure, so I think I agree, dumbass is pretty good.
I agree, dumbass. Yeah, that kind of sums up
that's
the
social media.
Oxymoron.
Yeah.
All right, Jackie Papers will be heading to Cape Cod. Yep. I'm heading to Quincy.
That's right. Similar.
Thank you. And that will do it. You can email in anything. I think I have $1,000 bounty out there for hate mail.
Nice. Yeah.
I'm telling you, I would do that.
Yeah, for $1,000.
Yeah, for a quick $1,000 Venmo.
I would have already had one penned.
Yeah.
The thing is, got to piss you off, though.
Yeah, that's that, and that's the thing.
Right.
I don't know, but I don't.
I'd give it a shot. At least for
at least
$1,000.
Put a puck on the net.
Shit.
You got to use your real name. Yeah. I think that's probably the thing that really keeps the wall up.
Yeah, shit. I mean, I sent an email to you. When the producer job was up,
you did
to net starting salary at KFNS.
What was that salary? Do you want to share?
I mean, yeah, I don't know because I think
it's the right thing to do to not
share it.
So I wouldn't be doing not why I share my $22,000 starting salary.
It did not. I wouldn't say that. Forbes ignored the notification.
Oh, was that right?
Of my job acceptance, they were not. They were like, okay, yeah. They were like, okay. Yeah, that was something.
Tim, good luck on the call tomorrow. That's from the Cardinal Cowboys pontoon. Oh, that's with Caden. Yeah, I got to text her again to see if we can figure this out. All right, so I'm giving the audience assignments. That seems reasonable.
Sure, and we have an assignment as well. We're going to think on the most meaningful conversations we've had in our life.
That's going to wind up being good.
I think it's going to be really good.
I'm going to have some stuff there.
Yeah, me too.
Tip of the cap to Don Peepee.
I'm going to reflect on that.
If you have interest in putting together, like working with me on the golf videos, I'll get the people to play. Mm-hmm. I'll be able to do that. That's rare, but I'll be able to get the people to play. I have a couple of different courses we can use. It's just you need to be able to produce it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I also have to make sure. I don't know how it would work with. Maybe it could work with Hubbard. That like Hubbard then would sell it,
sure.
And then like we own it. I don't know. We'll work it out.
Yeah.
But it's not. I want to do this in a big time way, but it's not realistic to do it with a digital department and then having them take a full day to shoot it, and then God only knows how long to edit it. And Brad L., who's very kind in there, too. Wow, this is Jackson. I don't know what to do. This is just wonderful. Says, I totally agree. This morning and afternoon have been nothing but a delight and has made my day go so much better. Thank you. Brad L. was one of the people who was interested in, if you can do it. Listen, I am looking to invest, for lack of a better term. And there's nothing you want to invest more than in yourself if you believe you have something that could work. And I'm certainly happy to put some dollars behind it to make it work. So there's that on the golf thing. The Caden thing. I'm going to send her a text right when we get done. She didn't get back to me on the text about, hey, you good with texting or talking about, our call at 11 o'clock? I don't know what to do. You just think like a no-laying up Zoom chat would work.
That would be the most...
You think that's the best? Okay.
I think it's the most doable.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think the best would be being out there, but that's not
And her coming here. I mean, she has at this point like a 10 or 11-year-old daughter,
right.
12 maybe. Yeah. And of course, Manuel.
Can't forget, who's a video game player, right? He
sits on Twitch and makes a bunch of money. Yeah. I don't know how much he performs anymore.
Really?
Yeah, and he will wind up hooking up with the adult stars that I like. I can't watch it.
Yeah, because you know the guy.
Yeah, and I don't know him as well as I know her.
Sure.
I can't watch, and I have no idea why. What do you think's going on there?
Well, he's uncut, right? It'd be jarring.
So you think if I see an uncut ween,
It jars me every time.
Is that right? Really? Wow. You're kind of circumcision shaming.
I don't mean to.
Yeah, you might have to issue an apology via Twitter.
I can't deny it. It's just like when I was seeing the torpedo bats at the beginning of the baseball season, I was like, looks like an uncircumcised penis to me.
No.
Yeah, that's what it looked like to me.
Yeah, I don't know. Something we can talk about with Caden, actually.
Doesn't he often get his salad tossed?
Yeah, that's true. And that's becoming, I have to tell you, Ella Reese went,
Oh, really?
It's changed things for me.
I can imagine.
And didn't just go dabbling.
Mm-hmm. Helmet nacho.
Like had been on a ship at sea for a few weeks.
Ravenous.
Ravenous is exactly right.
Yeah. That'll change things.
God.
And we don't kink shame.
We don't. And hey, the tip of the cap to everybody involved. But for me, I can't wrap my head around. I can't forget what I saw.
No. It's just I don't want to get too deep into it, but the position it puts the gentleman in. Like from physical standpoint.
Like there's a whole thing now.
Yeah.
That pillow talk, they talk about it quite a bit.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's really kind of a sub position.
Undoubtedly. If your legs are up.
No.
Oh, God. Really?
Yeah, she's knocking on the back door and she's coming in that way too.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's
with an active left palm. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, not
I don't know. I don't know what to do.
Just not for me.
I don't know what to do. I'm working with my therapist on a way to try to forget what I saw and go back to where I was in April, but I'm shaken by it. Manuel, I'm looking forward to doing it. I guess. Okay, we're just going to do a Zoom call. Here's the podcast. We're just going to sit here and bullshit.
Yeah, I think that's sustainable.
It'll be easy for the guests. You want to make it easy for the guests.
And getting guests, I think, would be good. But the conversation with you and Caden is also good, so you include both. That way, you could do it every week, where it wouldn't be like I said, like going out there and banking it. Like, that's a stressful week. Like, not only is it a lot of work that week, but like, if someone cancels, then you have to.
And then you're booking studio time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That too.
Because there isn't a studio here. There's a studio, but you still need the guys.
And someone bails on you, and now you're eating the studio costs. Like there's too much. It's most viable and most sustainable doing it on Zoom, I think.
I agree with you. I don't know. Are those the most market? Okay, how about this? What's a podcast that is really successful? And I mean, when I'm talking really successful, I'm talking minimum 7 figures ad revenue. And I realize we don't have that information, but that's what we're going to use as our bar. Where you just got people sitting around on Zoom. And maybe people will be like, oh my God, there's a bunch of them. And I don't know. I'm so focused on Pillow Talk right now.
New Heights, the Kelsey Brothers podcast.
They're on Zoom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're always in different, You're
right.
Yep.
All right, great. Perfect.
And when they bring guests on, they're also on Zoom.
Okay, good. It makes me feel good about that.
There we go.
I like that Prof G, that Scott Galloway.
Yeah.
I feel like he's on Zoom.
Before.
I can't remember who his co-host is.
They do it so well now with the microphone technology and like the
I guess we can do
where
it.
it doesn't sound like you're on Zoom
Okay.
at all.
All right, so then
some
we're good.
podcasts I hear
Okay.
do sound like they're on Zoom, and I wish I'd be like, and I still love the podcast, but I would be like, can we please fix the audio? And then they did a live podcast once where the audio was crisp and awesome, and apparently they said their audience hated it and that they like the shitty kind of
because then it sounds like
sound.
maybe it's more voyeuristic than you're just coming in on a conversation.
Which I love. That's my ideal podcast. Feel like I'm an extra person at the table.
One I'm looking forward to, you probably wouldn't like it, I have no idea. Bill Maher's guest this week is Sean Penn. And it was I don't know if Bill Maher like rope-a-doped him.
Smoke inside.
Oh, I mean, Sean Penn on Between Two Ferns. Have you ever seen that?
Yes. Sean Penn and John Bernthal did the podcast together, and I don't know if that air was more cigarette and tobacco smoke than it was oxygen.
Oh. So I've just seen a clip of it. I'm going to listen to it. I don't know. I have to be in moods for podcasts.
Yeah,
I've noticed that.
Certain podcasts. Some
and
are
I rarely, but I've got this fucking 2.5 hour drive to Quincy.
Yeah,
and I'll be getting out of the car and like literally running to the tee box for my 2:00 tee time on Friday. But I'm like trying to schedule like meetings for the call to like fill the time.
Yeah.
But if I'm not, I'll be podcasting. And I can see the Bill Maher, Sean Penn thing irritating me. But if Sean Penn comes after Bill Maher for having dinner with Donald Trump, and then Bill Maher goes, "You've had dinner with what Castro?"
Oh yeah, we went on those,
I feel like Hugo Chavez.
Yeah.
He's like, "So I can't have dinner with the president of the United States."
Yeah, maybe right message, wrong messenger.
And I don't know if Bill Maher knew that was coming, and then he was able to. He's just like, very fair point. Even if you dislike the man, it's a kind of a, All right, final one. Tim, are you making new podcasts just to hang out with your friends? Tell the wife we have to podcast about gambling. Sorry, it's from Adam. Is it Welly or Well? I ask that every time I see it.
Seems like Welly.
Yeah, I mean, Caden's a unique one. We've talked about working together for like 15 years now at this point. I've always been bullish on it. Now there's so many of these things. I mean, Call Her Daddy would be an obvious example. Pillow Talk. I think Pillow Talk's doing well.
Plug Talk.
Plug Talk. Do you think that does well?
Yeah.
Like, you think it makes like a lot of money? It's certainly popular, but I don't know, like these things, like when Ryan on Pillow Talk does advertisements, it's like for penis pumps. He's not getting the MeUndies sponsorships.
I can understand that. Yeah, it's probably a different demographic, a different sales strategy. I only would think that it is profitable because Adam 22 is very transparent about his business.
Oh, is he?
And what he started and why he got famous was he started a hip-hop interview company, essentially. No Jumper, where he interviews hip-hop artists and does vlogs about hip-hop and stuff. And he says that's not doing great, so his wife, Lena, is like essentially making all the money at the moment. He wasn't saying
like literally as we're talking right now.
Yeah, he wasn't saying that.
God
He's like me. Adam 22 is not broke. It's just No Jumper is going through financial up and downs. But Plug Talk, Lena the Plug, is making money.
So he would do a podcast where he's interviewing a hip hop artist.
Yeah, him and like
that's
some
tailed
other
off.
Yes.
Okay.
It was really popular when SoundCloud rappers were like as big as anybody. Like nowadays, it's all mainstream rapper. Like SoundCloud rappers and TikTok rappers can get into the industry, but to have a foothold, SoundCloud rappers were having footholds, and that's where he really cashed in.
Was Lena, I can't believe I'm asking you this question, but I feel like you might have the answer. Was Lena like an adult performer before they started doing this podcast?
Yes,
because I had never heard of her.
Nor had I, but I believe that.
Okay.
I believe that she was a porn star before.
Okay.
Yeah, before they got together.
Huh, I'll have to listen to that. Adam Welly is the salty bald dad.
And he also said it is Welly.
And it is Welly. God bless America. All right. Jackson, how long? Let's see. We probably went an hour, 2 hours, and 10 minutes.
Wow. Jesus. 2 hours, 9 minutes, and 18 seconds.
Wow. But I overbid.
You did.
Still lose.
Yeah, nothing.
Still lose. Enjoyed it. As always, you can always, anything. I don't know who I like listening to. Who do I like listening to? I don't know. I listen to these fucking Holly Randall, Bill Maher.
Yeah.
What are my go-tos? Tron Carter.
Scott Van Pelt.
Scott Van Pelt. And he was saying, but then, you know what, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know if I would send an email in.
To SVP? Like a question?
Yeah.
Like a take?
But I mean, I'm just open to anything.
Yeah.
Like for real. Like it doesn't have to be hate mail. It can be hate mail. You can get $1,000. But I think the using the real name thing, and I think people are like, oh, I'm using my real name, so I'm giving up my anonymity, but I might not get the $1,000 because I don't know if I can piss this motherfucker off.
Right. But then it's just going to go to your deleted email file. Or you probably would respond.
Yeah, but I think
finally.
I think some people value the anonymity.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
So maybe that's why I can't.
Yeah, because
now it's $1,000.
Although then just come up with a different pseudonym.
Yeah, I don't know what to do on that. An erotic story would be great.
God
I think Jackson's
damn.
going to be able to tell hundreds of them from this weekend in Cape Cod.
I wouldn't wager.
Yeah,
on
right,
it.
really. Maybe I'll tell some from Quincy.
I'd say we have similar likelihoods.
Adam Willie says you guys are great. Wow, this Jackson,
Thank you, Adam.
This just became a delight at the end of today's podcast.
You'd really have to be a real cretin to be still hate watching 2 hours and 10 minutes into the second program of the day.
Could you two break 60 from the Reds together, scramble? Well, what course?
Yeah, it's a good.
Like the course where I play on a regular basis.
I would say no on that.
Oh, fuck yeah, we could.
Break 6. Okay, so that would be. Oh yeah, break 6. Okay, I was thinking 12 on.
Hell, I just did it this past Thursday.
Right. Par's different. Okay, like a par 72.
And that one we weren't even really trying to. And all due respect to my playing partner, who may be in the viewing, the handicaps would say you're a better player than my playing partner. Right.
I think.
Although that means then you're that was net though, but I wasn't getting many pops.
No, this would be gross. Yeah, but that would be 9.
So that's a par 68. So yeah, that's important because I'm sure everybody's thinking it's par 72, 71, or 70. So I got to acknowledge that. Yeah. But the thing that makes it tough is my course. There's 6 par 3s, and there's really only one that's kind of a layup.
Yeah.
The rest of them, that's where I fuck up are these par 3s.
Right, and even the front tees, like you're still having to hit a good shot.
But from the but now I'm able to hit probably wedges.
Yeah, at Gateway, I think Gateway would be like a better, like just standard course.
Yeah, I'm happy to do this. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. I don't know. I'm willing to put for me, what is a good amount of money behind it to get the thing off the ground. Yeah. I don't know how we would get it done because I know at this particular moment, this is not a criticism. This is the state of the industry, the state of business as it is at this particular moment in history. That if I go into Hubbard and go, hey, if you would spend X amount of dollars, I'm not sure that's going to happen. And I totally understand it, by the way. So I would have to kind of like buy it. It's a spec thing. Like I'm financing Aquaman, or I'm financing Medellin.
Medellin. Yeah, that was tough. That was Adam Goldberg, I believe is the guy's name. He was in Saving Private Ryan. That guy, the guy who plays the financier for Medellin, which did not do well. Although it was ahead of its time because Narcos would come just a few years later.
That's right. Me and you going out and playing break 60 from places, I'd be happy to do it.
Gateway, I think that would be an interesting one. That would be an interesting one because big
So
green.
Gateway's a 71.
Yeah, big. So we have get to 12 from the red tees.
God, it's so gross. I don't know on that. See, I was like, I just did it, but that was with pops.
Yeah.
And I was playing at the time a course 6. The index has been dropping. Now it's dropped to an irresponsible spot. By the way, like I'm happy that it's dropping because it means I'm playing well, but. Now when I go out and play, I'm like, oh fuck! Yeah. Now the Venmo's going to be active. Yeah. It's just I listen. If I can find, I mean, you might be Exhibit A. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, I mean, some of the people starter packs. Yeah. I'm working with starter packs on a variety of things. There's fucking starter packs. I'm high on the starter packs. I told you that the moment we got done doing the thing that was like I'm going to tell people who I am. And we got done and came back in. I go, that fucking starter pack. He's my kind of guy. You don't need to, sure as hell, don't need to go to journalism school or communication school to get in here. It's essentially be pleasant and have a work ethic, and those are the qualifications. Yeah. So if you want to do this, I'm telling you, I don't expect people ever to just like, let me give you, 20 hours of my time and not be compensated. So,
and to whoever is going to possibly know that I am very open to being part of the film team and the editing, especially the editing team. The editing team is key. Yeah, editing is so huge. With
do you have any?
Stuff.
I don't know how to do that shit.
Yeah, I mean, I've edited stuff, video stuff before.
But the shot tracer things, too?
Shot tracer, that would be the person who, if you're interested in this, like being well equipped, knowing shot tracer, or at least having an idea, I think is important because that is I'm telling you that YouTube golf would not exist without it.
Yeah, you're right.
Wouldn't exist.
Now that I'm thinking about it, like I was watching Grant Horvat and Scheffler play, and I'm like, yeah, plenty of times they didn't even have like where the ball landed.
Right.
But you don't have to because you're not following the shot.
Right.
So you're right with the shot tracer. So then the videographer doesn't have to be, quote, talented. The videographer just have the shot on the pin.
Yeah. The editing,
the wide shot,
is the real the talent.
Yeah.
The talent is really in the.
So you can have the play. So okay, so this maybe makes it more realistic.
It makes you lose. You can take away one of the videographers,
right?
As opposed to having someone in the fairway. Now two, I think, is ideal because you want someone up on the green,
right? But you always want and then you have the what's the thing in the cart?
Oh yeah, like
with
the GoPro.
Rafe, GoPro. That's what Rafe
exactly.
had.
Yep.
And that was great shit.
Yep. You have a GoPro in the cart. You have a camera. One camera operator who stands behind every single shot,
yep.
and another camera operator who gets a second angle of tee shots and then on the green for approach shots.
I really want to do this. I mean, I guess I could probably just hire it out. Yeah, I assume.
I don't know,
but I like to. You know what I am, Jackson? I'm an upside guy. I think you know that. I will take upside over fixed income any fucking day. So I'm looking for somebody motivated by the upside. And hey, that doesn't mean, be clear, that there won't be dollars behind it. But if I hire a company, they don't want upside, and I don't blame them. Right. This is like an individual. Okay, me and my two buddies want to do this. We're going to go out there. We're going to shoot it. We'll edit it. We can start a little LLC, whatever the fucking thing is. I'm telling you. I mean, I'll rattle the names off right now. Robert Thomas, for sure. He's a golf addict. Kachuk, maybe the Kachuk boys.
Yeah.
Freeze, Maroon, Pang, Ozzy. Who else? Isringhausen. I feel like there's a chance this would be in the 10% category of probability. Arnado. God, who else? But I mean, right there, that's just Joe Buck is insta-ship. I mean,
Mark Mulder play a lot?
Yeah, but I mean, he plays out at that. What's that place all those guys play in Scottsdale? It's where Kachuk was a member, but he forgot until his wife's like, "Hey, we keep getting bills from this place. It's off Camelback Road in Scottsdale. Right. They all play there. It sounds like it's a fucking pony." Yeah. So anyway, if you got it. T. McKernan inside STL.com. Just like this guy right here. This motherfucker right here, eh?
Yeah, this motherfucker.
5 years ago, sent me an email. And I said, I got a feeling about this guy. You can be that person. Put it together, get money, get equity. We'll go live in St. Bart's together. All right, we're going to go. Thank you to James Carlton, the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency. Thank you to Seth Goldcamp of Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling. Thank you to Mark Hanna of Evergreen Wealth Strategies. I'm Tim McKernan. That's Jackson Burkett. This has been the Tim McKernan Show podcast on the Inside STL Podcast Network.